Hey everybody, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So today I'm filming the intro after I did all the readings, so that's fun. It took me 2 days to film this one. This is a banger as far as like length and time of a reading. So if you like the long ones, buckle in. So this is what makes you attractive. We're going to be talking about all the stuff that makes you attractive. For some of the piles, we get into the types of people that are attracted to you, and also your person that you'd be the best with in a long-term committed partnership. But for the most part, we're just going to be talking about what makes you desirable and the hidden workings behind your personality that do make you desirable. So get ready for that. Without further ado, let's introduce the crystal groups. We have 6 groups today. And yeah, I'm really excited. I know I said this already. I'm really excited to get in this reading, but like this reading was a lot of fun. Like there's so many unique different things about all of your personalities. I was really able to dig really deep. And so I was like, I'm really proud of this reading, I'd be honest. So let me get into the group. So the first group we have is Aquamarine. So it's that one right there. Our second group is Amethyst. Our third group is Kunzite. Our fourth group is Tiger Iron. Our fifth group is Chrysoprase. And our last 6th group is Black Tourmaline. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal. You can pause the video here if you need to. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to pick your crystal. Whatever way that works for you is the way that gets you the right pile and the right reading, and everybody's happy. Anyway, so pause the video here if you need to. And without further ado, let's get started with group 1, the Aquamarine. This one right here. Hey, group 1, this is if you chose the, what is the stone called? Aquamarine. If you chose the Aquamarine, this will be your reading. So I already drew 3 oracle cards for you today. We have Thief, Moth Spirit, and Duma, Angel of Dreams. So we're also going to be drawing some tarot cards, which I'm going to draw now, and then I'm going to be pulling some other cards later in the reading to get some other information. If I feel like it, I might do the Astro Dice, but we'll have to see. Got to keep stamina up for the rest of the groups. Okay, so let's see. We have our first card. We have Wheel of Fortune. Okay. And let's see what other cards want to come out for this pile. This card wants to come out. We have Page of Swords. Let's get at least 3 more cards. This one doesn't want to go back in, so we have Page of Cups. And let's get 1 more. 2 of Cups. Let's see, is 4. Let's just stick with 4 for now. And then I also want to pull a Whispers of Love card. You guys, and we have Focus on Love, and let's see, how am I going to set this up? I'll pull, you know what, I'll pull 2 Love Story Oracle cards on either side of the table, and then we'll get into your reading. Let's see what Love Story Oracle cards want to come out for this reading. This one wants to come out. We have Support. Lovely. And what other one wants to come out? We have Fear. This is the one that I'm kind of, I'll put it this way. When you become a tarot reader, sometimes you can know what cards are coming out of the deck before they flip out, and you'll shuffle and you'll do all that good stuff, but the cards still come out the way you think they're going to come out. So I kind of already knew fear was coming out, and so I already know what that kind of means in this reading. But let me look over your entire reading, and I'll give you a clear picture of what is going on. I'm actually going to roll the Astro Dice here too. We have some space on the table, so I want to kind of see what... Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. We have the second house here, Pisces and Venus. So it's funny Venus is coming out because this is a love reading. So this is kind of reminding me that a lot of people that are attracted to you might be attracted to you not based on like a very carnal, like I want to have sex with you kind of desire. Like it's more the fact that they're like kind of romantically in love with you, or there's kind of like the realm of ideas. We have that again here with Angel of Dreams, that the way, and especially with the cup, the water and the sword energy right here, there is this idea of like them wanting to be with you on more of an intellectual or emotional level rather than a very physical or tangible level, basically. There's something very like dreamy and airy about you guys that I'm kind of seeing, or that I'm picking up on. With Moss Spirit, with Surrender Now, one thing that makes people really attracted to you is kind of when you give in to them. I think that's kind of something that people like. I think that people have this double-edged thing with you. With the Fear card here, I'm seeing that some people are intimidated by you at first. Like they have a hard time approaching you, but when they finally do approach you, they learn it's like really easy to communicate. And so I definitely think that like there is this kind of idea of like people looking or watching you from afar or kind of not approaching you or something like that. Ironically enough, a lot of these people that don't approach you, they're really tough people. These are people who are really like strong or sturdy or something like that. The thing that I'm seeing with Moth Spirit Surrender Now is the one thing that's kind of like the thing that people really, really appreciate about you is the fact that when you're in a connection with someone, or when you're in a relationship with someone, or when you start to merge with someone or start talking to someone or starting to build that relationship, there is this time period where you kind of start to surrender to their ideas, their beliefs, their concepts of life and where life is going. And when you guys have conversations, you kind of surrender to their ideology. You have this way of kind of seeing the best in all different types of ideologies. We see this again here with the Thief card, where it says sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. But I am seeing this Thief card represented a little bit different here, where I see that in one hand, you guys have this ability to kind of like take the best from every different person's ideology, if that makes sense. So for example, when you get into a relationship or you have someone attracted to you, what they don't realize what's happening is the fact that they're attracted to you is because you're so open. With Focus on Love, Look for the Good in Everyone, you have this openness about you that kind of, in a way, like absorbs other people's opinions, other people's perspectives. You have this way of like absorbing your reality, basically. So with Surrender Now, I think people expect a fight from you. I think you look like the type of person with the Fear card here, where they expect some kind of either conflict or difficult situation with you. But it's like once they're in your inner circle, or once these people kind of get close to you, they realize how docile you are. We see this again here with the Page of Cups and also the Page of Swords. There is this element that the closer and the more people get to know you, the more you hold back. So I feel like people at first see you as someone who could be very talkative, very forward, very expressive, but the closer people get to you with the Page of Swords here, they appreciate your reserve. I think that people really respect the fact that you take the time to work out what you're gonna say before you say it. You don't really just swing the sword right away. Like this Page of Swords, he has the sword pulled back, and in the background we have all these clouds indicating like his bubbling thought process, right? So there is something along the lines of you thinking before you talk. And so I do think that people appreciate that pause, that little reflective moment. With Angel of Dreams, I do see here that you guys actually might dream of people who are attracted to you. Or on the flip side, your effect is so powerful on people that you appear in their dreams. So some people could really come to you or say stuff to you like, oh, I had a dream about you last night, and we were doing this and this and this. one thing that I'm seeing is that a lot of people who are attracted to you, there is a subconscious attraction going on here with the Angel of Dreams. I feel like these people who are dreaming about you, a lot of them don't even realize they're attracted to you on kind of like a physical level. Like I said, your guys' attraction affects people mostly on an emotional and a logical level. So logically, people can think like, yeah, I really want to be with them. Like they're really good on, all these things on paper are good. Like they'd make a partner, but they might not be feeling the physical component in the connection. Or with the Page of Cups here, they might think like, this person doesn't have like, they might think that this person doesn't have like a lot of like resources or money or something like that. But at the same time, emotionally, I feel connected to them. Emotionally, it feels right. They just feel like the right fit. So a lot of people are going to have this kind of perspective with you. With both two pages coming out here, Page of Cups and Page of Swords, your youth is in something that people like. There's something about you being younger. You might attract a lot of older people because there's something about your youthful energy that kind of inspires other people to be childlike and playful with you. So you guys have a really creative, powerful energy here. With Pisces here, I definitely see that you guys are very intuitive. You're very psychic, especially with that dream component. I definitely see the fact that like people can kind of connect with you through dreams more than they can through reality. So in some rare cases, you might have some partners who like you or appreciate you, but kind of only want to stay far away from you and just dream about you and not really approach you, basically. With Wheel of Fortune here, I see that you guys are very, very lucky. It's funny that I mentioned the example of people being more emotionally connected to you and not really thinking about the practical realities like money, finance, stuff like that. But people do realize that you are very, very fortunate in a sense that you're very, very lucky. You guys have this kind of like golden light about you that kind of blesses you with different things in your life, if that makes sense. Also with support right next to the Wheel of Fortune, I am saying that you do support people in times of trouble. So when the Wheel of Fortune is not in someone else's favor, when they're down on their luck, when life isn't treating them that well, you offer them that support. Specifically, you offer them emotional support and the reasoning faculties to get out of their situations. I see that you guys are really smart with logic and emotion. So on one hand, when people come to you for support, one thing that makes you attractive is you're emotionally very comforting. You have this aura about you that soothes them. So it's almost like a drug in a sense. Like it kind of gets them to forget about their problems. And we do have Pisces here, which is ruled by Neptune. So a lot of Piscean people are kind of like a drug in a sense. Like they have this kind of dreamlike effect, alluring effect over others. And so one thing that I'm seeing is that kind of support or that emotional support. Pisces is also associated with the 12th house, and that can be associated with caregivers or caregiving. And so I definitely see that here with the Wheel of Fortune. It's like when people are down on their luck, you have this ability to support them emotionally, and it makes them feel really, really good. Another thing with the Page of Swords here, that when you are supporting people, one thing that I see is that you also provide really good logical answers for people in their time of need. We have the second house coming up, which is the house of resources and values and kind of what you personally like care about, basically. Like what are your possessions like, basically? And so with the Wheel of Fortune here, I am leading this back to the second house as well. I'm seeing this as people being down on their luck financially and you actually being really well equipped to help them handle that or get them out of that situation with like logical arguments or a strategy or a battle plan to get out of that type of situation. We see here with the Two of Cups, also one thing I want to mention before I move on with the rest of the reading is that people kind of believe that you are a long-term partner for them. So people who do get close to you and they make it past that intimidation factor, you'll notice a lot of people who get close to you, once they're close to you, they won't want to leave. Like you have a lot of friends that are like friends for life because they're kind of always wanting to stay in your presence. They're always wanting to kind of like be around you or surround you. They like the fact that you kind of surrender to them and make them the leader in their own life. You have this way of putting other people on a pedestal, basically. Now it's interesting because with the Thief card here, this is kind of this like shadowy component in your character that I don't think you guys share with people, but if you did, I don't think they would care. I don't think they would mind. And this just comes from the fact that you appropriate like their beliefs into your own belief system, basically. And that just comes from the fact that, this is this Pisces energy, this is this Angel of Dreams, we have like the Page of Cups here. There is this element of kind of blending your consciousness with theirs. And so it's not really like you're doing it on purpose, but like accidentally you might like take one of their ideas and use one of their ideas with them not knowing it, without them knowing it. It's because you're so psychically in tune with those around you and your connections. So people might get a little upset by this. This could be a shadow side to some of your connections. They'd be like, why'd you say that? Or why'd you dress the same as me today? Or something. Like, I don't know why that example is coming to mind, but I feel like for some of you, you might actually dress the same as your friends on a particular day, where you might dress the same exact outfit as like one of your friends. What's happening is like, you're so connected to that person that you start to appropriate their style, their way of dressing, how they look. So there's kind of this element here where you are stealing components of like their personalities even. You might even start acting like these other, you might even start acting like your friends or the people that you are attracted to or that feel close to you. With focus on love, look for the good in everyone. I think people really appreciate this. I feel like because your boundaries are so blurred with this Pisces energy and with the Angel of Dreams, your subconscious is just so tapped into others' subconsciouses. Or it's like, yeah, you have this ability to look for the good in everyone and see the good in everyone. And so one thing that you do with people, I think, is you shift their perspective to see good things in others. And I think people really, really appreciate that, because I think you see deep down where people are coming from. And you kind of see like into them, essentially, where you see like all the subconscious issues. You see what's holding them back. You see what's helping them. You see what's motivating them. And so I think that on a deeper level, you kind of can see the good in everyone, or you know how to defend the people who deserve to be defended, because you can see those underlying motives in their behavior. Yeah, once again, because Venus is here and it's not Mars here, I do see that one of the ways that you love people and they love you is through a conscious choice of love. So for example, this is not a love where it's like, and it's kind of being reiterated here because there is a lot of Neptune energy and you guys having this sign of like Pisces representing kind of like your character. What I'm seeing here with the Venus card is there is an element of conscious choice in your kind of connections with others. So for example, I feel like you guys have that and you value that really deeply. So I think that a lot of your committed relationships, there is a moment where you guys both say to each other, like, look, you're mine. Or that person says like, look, you're mine. Or there's a moment of conscious choice. I think a lot of this surrendering that you do with people, when consciously you decide to have a romantic relationship, you surrender to that person wholeheartedly and you make sure that they feel the best or the most important in the connection. One thing that I am seeing for you guys, just something to think about in life, because I am seeing this is what makes you attractive. I feel like sometimes with the boundaries being blurred so much and you guys putting other people up on a pedestal or kind of focusing on their knowledge or their resources and stuff, it's almost like with the 2 pages here, you expect other people to lead the relationship or to be the ones that create the ideas or the components or I just feel in general that in a relationship situation, you guys are like diehard followers, right? Like you appreciate the following position. I feel like another follower in a relationship with you guys doesn't work out that well because it becomes that battle of like, well, where do you want to go eat dinner? And then it's like, oh, I don't care. Where do you want to go eat dinner? And so you guys get in this battle of like, well, one of us has to lead. One of us has to make a decision. So I definitely think that those decisions are very important for you. And I'm seeing that here with the Venus again. It's like the decision to be with someone is really important. So when someone decides to be with you or when you decide to be with someone else, I feel like that surrender moment is kind of that solidifying, like just the fact that you choose to be with another person. Yeah, I want to pull my playing card deck, which is just an ordinary deck of playing cards with some fairies on it. And I want to get some more information about, I'm going to pull a playing card, I think for each tarot card. And I just want to get a little bit more information before we wrap up the reading. Okay. And these playing cards, I will, usually when I film these readings, I like take all the cards and set them aside and don't recycle the cards per pile. So each pile gets different cards. I am going to be recycling these cards in this reading. So we have Ace of Spades with the Two of Cups. Let's see if I can put that down there. Then for the Page of Cups, we have the Queen of Diamonds. For the Page of Swords, we have the King of Spades. And for the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Five of Clubs. That's so interesting. So with the Queen of Diamonds and the King of Spades, I am seeing compatibility with your partners, or I am seeing things that make these cards are kind of coming out with what would be compatible with you guys, basically. So first of all, with the Queen of Diamonds here, because you guys have such a permeable sense of yourself where your kind of emotions are kind of in tune with other people's emotions, or you provide this kind of aura of positivity for others. With the Queen of Diamonds here, I see that it's good for you to be with people who are more earthy or more grounded in reality. I think these are types of people that are attracted to you, and at the same time, these are types of people who really know what they want and value in life. I think that's what's really important here, and someone who's more nurturing, because we have the King and the Queen here over the pages. So I definitely see there's a kind of like nurturing component to your connections where you're going to get nurtured by those around you, and you're also doing a little bit of nurturing yourself. But with the Queen of Diamonds, I'm just seeing that this pragmatic approach that someone could have for you is going to be really beneficial, because it's going to be someone who's really solid in what they believe in, what they value, and kind of doesn't have too many permeable barriers, basically. So once you tap into them, you feel a sense of your own self because you're tapping into them as well. With the King of Spades, with the Page of Swords here, I'm seeing that your logical side actually would do very beneficial with someone else who has more of a logical side or a spiritual side to them. So I am seeing that you probably could end up with someone who is more of, because I'm reading these Queen of Diamonds and this King of Spades is more like the tarot card interpretations of these cards. And so with the King of Spades, I am seeing that like you could end up with someone who is more of like a leader, or someone who is someone who doesn't necessarily follow, is basically what I'm seeing here. And I see that your logical, your ability to take a back seat or to hold back your thoughts and opinions, they see that as really beneficial. So I definitely see you attract leaders and really strong, like practical motherly types, like motherly types that have a practical component to them. With the Ace of Spades here, with the Two of Cups, I see that people, when they're communicating with you, they feel like they're being enlightened. Like they feel like you have this enlightening way of communicating. So there's almost this ability for you, no matter who you're communicating with, to share knowledge with them, to share some kind of secret with them, and they might not even realize that you're sharing it with them. That's the thing about this pile. You guys are so psychically tuned in that when you just have casual conversations with people, you'll notice people around you in conversations, they'll get a lot of ideas, right? It's not necessarily ideas you're telling them, but they're getting a lot of ideas because your conversation is triggering them to have a lot of epiphanies, to have a lot of ideas. So that's kind of why people are getting these kind of epiphanies or learning these secrets about life around you. And then the Five of Clubs with the Wheel of Fortune, I am just seeing that there's a lot of change with your fortune and the fortune of others. And so that's one thing that is, if you guys were kind of coming to this reading and you're like, well, when do I control this fortune, or what do I do with this fortune? Well, first of all, I am seeing that if you travel, or if you ever travel or make a trip somewhere, that's going to increase your fortune. So it's going to help you have better fortune. And I feel like another way you could help people is if you take a friend, like if a friend's down on their luck, you take them on a trip and you guys go on a trip together, you go on some kind of adventure together. And that's another way that you can like increase your fortune and increase their fortune. Otherwise, I am seeing that like, it's kind of like the fortune you have in your life kind of makes you feel, how do I put this? It's like your mind is shifting through different perspectives of like how that fortune can be accomplished. It's just really reminding me of like Mercury here with this Five of Clubs card. And I feel like your fortune is mercurial. So it's not something you can really grab onto or control. So I feel like a lot of you who've tried to control your good fortune in the past, you may have run up against walls or run up against problems with that. And when you try to kind of control other people's fortunes, you run up with problems with that. So I almost see that you guys have this instinctive way of knowing how to manipulate this kind of mercurial luck energy and how it like moves about, and kind of you have this understanding about it. And I think that's something that people appreciate with you as well. All right, guys, that's all I'm getting for this group. Thank you, group one, for letting me read for you. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. If you like this video, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. With that said, we're going to move on to group two with the Amethyst. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey, group two, this is if you picked the Amethyst cluster. Shiny, pretty, sparkly, glittery, you know. Showtime. That's what this kind of peacock reminds me of. I'm getting like some Leo vibes with this group. So I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm feeling off the top of my head with just the oracle cards that are out. But okay, so your oracle cards, you have Hero, Heroine, Peacock Spirit, and Angel Gabriel, Angel of Heralds. So with that said, we're going to get into your tarot card portion of this reading. And I'll read everything. Once I get all the cards out on the table, I pre-draw the oracle cards, but then shuffle these on camera. Then once I get all the cards on the table, we can start the reading. Okay, what cards want to come out for group 2? Okay, this card wants to come out. We have the Hangman. What else wants to come out? This card wants to come out. We have the 7 of Pentacles. Ooh, interesting. And what other cards need to come out? This card, the Hermit, and the Moon. Okay. Then I'm also going to draw a Whispers of Love card and a Love Story Oracle card. Okay, we have Ask for Help. And we're going to draw 2 Love Story Oracle cards. Let's see what cards want to come out for group 2. I think we're going to have to draw for these. For our first card, we have Rejection. Interesting. And we also have Open Up. Let's pull these cards. And then I'm going to roll the Astro Dice 2 to get a little bit of a bigger picture here. We have North Node, Taurus, and the 3rd house. Okay, the one thing I'm seeing about you guys, it's funny because I saw Leo energy at first, but one thing that I'm seeing with this Taurus card here, there is kind of a component to your personality where specifically with, I think Taurus and Leo are square to each other in the zodiac. That's right? They're 2 fixed signs. Yeah, so yeah, they're square to each other, and this is kind of a representation of your personality a little bit. Your personality holds a little bit of tension, a little bit of struggle in it, and I'm kind of seeing that in your cards here. One thing though that's interesting about this tension is it makes people attracted to you. So people are attracted to, not only am I going to go over a few different things in the dynamics here, but people are just purely attracted to that tension you possess. So your inner tension, kind of like how you struggle on an internal level, in a weird way, that's what's also making people attracted to you. And just to point out, I would not worry about people not being attracted to you if you fix this tension within yourself, because I am seeing that you guys I'm just intuiting this. I'm not seeing this in the cards. This goes beyond this reading, but you guys might have a period of your life where you want to work on that tension, or you want to work on that struggle within that you're dealing with. And you might not have a lot of people approaching you romantically during that time because you're missing a certain part of struggle that was initially attracting people in the first place. And we'll get into why that is with the Moon card over here. And it's actually would be better for you in the long run because you'll attract people who are better for you in the long run. But let's get into your reading. There's a lot to unpack. Yeah, so one of the first things that people appreciate about you with Ask for Help, what do you really need? Be willing to accept support. I feel like people appreciate that you ask them for help, basically. So I feel like in your connections or your relationships with people, it's one of those situations where people want to feel needed, right? And this aspect of need gets pretty deep in your chart. I'm thinking astrology, in your reading. With Ask for your help, it's like when you ask for other people for their help, that's kind of like your power move or a way that you can show love for others that gets them to reciprocate that love. So people enjoy helping you out. People look at you and kind of want to help you. They want to do things for you. They want to be supportive of you. So you might notice this in small, subtle ways in your life. maybe not necessarily from the people that you're actually interacting with. So you might have some people on one hand that really want to help you, and then other people on the other hand who are not so helpful. So you have a different, this group kind of has a mixed bag of who's attracted to them. Oh, you know what's funny about that personal growth thing I said at the beginning of the reading? We do have the North Node here, so it is possible that we might even talk about that in the reading. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even realize that. Okay, so with the Moon and rejection here, there is a little bit of a dynamic, and with the Hermit, I'm going to get into it. It's with the Moon here, the Moon always reminds me of your animal instincts. We have the two animals in the deck. We have like a wolf, a dog, and a crustacean, a lobster, right? Indicating like any living creature, not just humans. And the Moon affecting their biology or their chemistry or their instincts or their impulses, right? So the Moon is kind of like this instinctual intuition that kind of gets a little wild or out of hand, right? When there's a full moon, you know, there's all those stories how crime goes up on a full moon and stuff like that. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here, is that the people that are attracted to you, there's two things going on here, because you're attracting people who are also have this Moon energy, but you have this Moon energy with the Hermit here on an internal level. So I feel like you're very aware of your impulses, your instincts, your darker characteristics, the things that are things that you would normally have like an impulsive side to yourself. But if like these people in society that kind of have these like more risk takers, destructive people who are kind of like possessed almost by they're like animal instincts. They live off of instinct. They can get things based off of instinct. They have they might even look animalistic to you, these people. But these are the types of people that are attracted to you, but it's because you have these instincts buried deep within your heart. Or not your heart, that's the wrong word. It's not even your soul either. It's just deep within you. You know, and with the Hermit here, it's because when you're soul searching, you're uncovering these twists and turns and this kind of like lunacy within yourself. And it's not really, I don't really see you guys, because I do see this aspect of you guys being like separate from it, if that makes sense. So I see that there's this aspect where this lunacy or this craziness that's within you, you have a way of detaching from it so it doesn't control you. And that's one thing that I think people are so admirable about, because a lot of people that are attracted to you, they also have this Moon energy. It's like you're attracting like wild animals, basically, you know. And it's interesting, you guys also might have a way with wild animals as well. Like a lot of people in this pile, I wouldn't be surprised if you had like a wolf as a pet, or you had like some kind of like crazy pet that's not really, you know, that not normally would be a pet for a person. Like what are those cats, those wild cats that like have the Bengals, or what are they called? Those ocelot? Is that what it's called? The ocelot cats? You guys might have an ocelot cat or something like that. But anyway, with the Moon card here in rejection, I see that a lot of wild people approach you. But with rejection here, I see there's this like aspect where a lot of people like hit on you or are attracted to you. But the thing is you have this force field of rejection towards them. And the way I can describe this is like they try to get close to you, but because you are your own shield for your animal instincts and for your Moon-like energy, you're also able to protect yourself from others' instinctual energy, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And if you haven't gotten there yet, you will get there. You will be able to protect yourself from these other people who are more destructive or instinctual. But the thing is what I'm talking about with the tension, right? With the Taurus and the Leo energy tension, it's like that inner tension within you that you can kind of separate yourself from, because you've gone within, you've looked at it, you've shined the light on it, you've seen kind of the darkest place your mind can get, and you've seen the brightest it can go, and all these different facets of yourself. You're just kind of keeping it buried at this point, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. The Moon also deals with shadow work. So this could be like you just being in more layman's terms, in tune with your shadow side. But there's people out there who their shadow's more like leading their lives, or they're living in their shadow. And one thing that I'm seeing is you have this ability to kind of attract them, but keep them at arm's length, right? The fact that you can kind of control them and you can control your own animal instincts, that is what makes you attractive, right? People are perplexed that these animal instincts that they can't control, you are able to control. You're somehow able to calm them, to ease them. You have this way of taming other people because you've tamed the beast within yourself. And so with this rejection, you put them at arm's length or you reject them. And that's one way that I see that you kind of create this connection or make people want you, is because you have this way of where your inner animalistic flame is being lit, you are able to put theirs out, basically. So that's one really cool thing about you guys, that there's this kind of like beautiful kind of way of like taming the beast within and taming the beast without. So let's get into other aspects that people find attractive about you. With hero heroine, I see that you're also this person that kind of can come to the rescue in situations. You have this ability to save people when they're in a really tough position. And I definitely see that as something that makes you very, very attractive. I see on one hand, there's these two people in this card and they are kind of climbing a mountain, or they're climbing this tree. I'm going to take it as a mountain, but there are two people on opposite sides of the mountain climbing the mountain. So it's like, even though you could be on the opposite side of a mountain as someone else, somehow you're able to climb that same mountain with them and you guys reach the same pivotal point. It's like, even though you're on different pages or you're on different wavelengths, you have the ability, you're like, look, look, dude, look, bro, look, friend, we're climbing the same mountain. And so I do feel the fact that I'm saying dude, bro, and friend, I feel like a lot of people who are the people that you save or that you're the hero for, a lot of these people are people of the same sex, or people who, same sex is the wrong, people who you have platonic connections with, basically. These people are the people who you kind of climb that mountain with and kind of achieve those goals. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about your hero heroine aspect, is you do, the people that are romantically drawn to you, I hate to say it, but are these people with like these wild animal instincts, right? Because they're just drawn to the fact that you've mastered it, that you have control over yourself. That's kind of what trips them up, right? And the fact is, if you've just gotten control of yourself recently and you still haven't learned how to tame these people who are coming towards you with these kind of more animal sides to their character, I am seeing that you will be able to tame these types of people. You will be able to kind of, in a way, control their instincts, control their emotions, their emotional flow within them, basically. So yeah, so there is kind of like a really cool thing here with hero heroine where you help other people out, and with ask for help here where you're asking for help from others. And it's a beautiful mutual exchange, to be honest. With the hangman here, I am seeing that people really appreciate that you take the time out to think about things. I'm also seeing here with the Seven of Pentacles cards, you're the type of person that knows that the long game is the most important game there is. So I feel like a lot of people who are attracted to you are drawn to this idea that you kind of know. It's like you can almost, like, I'm seeing you guys in a weird way, like having a really strong grasp on the far future. And I'm not talking about the immediate future. I'm not talking about the future that's like, what am I going to do in 5 years from now? Or where am I going to be in this period of time? Or what am I going to be doing next week? Or something like that. This is like the far future. This is kind of like beyond our lifetimes is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. I do see that you have this ability to, with the 3 over here, the third house over here, communicate these epiphanies with the hangman about the far future, what I'm seeing with the 7 of Pentacles. So I feel like you guys have this ability to, the way you talk even could be reminiscent of like things in the far future. And so you have this way of like communicating of like how all our society will be communicating in the far future. So people might think you come from another time or another world or another planet even, but the truth is you are mimicking what our future society will be like, right? One thing that I am seeing here that is something that could really benefit you in this department, with knowing a lot about the future and knowing that you are kind of like a person that is just, how do I put this? You're just from another time, basically. You're from like 300 years down the line, right? You're meant to be here to kind of mirror your receptacle or your vibration to other people who are future focused. So I feel like you guys honestly have a lot of friends that are like psychic or intuitive or witches or something like that. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. And with open up, I am seeing that you're being encouraged to open up more information to these people that are on your good side. With the third house here, this can represent like early education. And with the North Node, I definitely see that one thing that you guys could be good at is you could have a very grounded way of teaching younger people or students or just kind of like teaching in general or educating others is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I think your future path or your destiny is to educate others. I think a lot of people can kind of see this in you or pick up on it intuitively, but not necessarily know how to put it into words. So there you go. There, you're welcome. Basically, you guys are great teachers. You guys have a way of being able to like define concepts and to like explain things. But it's very difficult. I think it would be difficult for you guys to get a traditional teaching job, because I am saying with the Hangman and the Seven of Pentacles, your communication, your language is from the future. It's beyond yourself, or it's beyond this time and place. So I feel like it would be difficult to get a teaching job, because on one hand, people want teachers that are like of this world, right? Or of this time and place. And it's just, I think there is a job out there for you that would have this factor in it. I'm just not sure what it is. But the thing is, the universe doesn't just give us gifts for us to not use them. You know, it's like you're gonna use these gifts, or there will be a time and place where these gifts will make sense and be important, you know? Even if you can't make a financial profit off them, with the Seven of Pentacles, I am saying that you might. This is kind of just the vibe that I'm getting. With Peacock Spirit, Let It Shine, it kind of goes with Open Up here, but letting your whole personality shine. And peacocks are interesting because the way I see this peacock, right, is it's like, here's the thing, with it opening up its heart right here, this heart space, and this light pouring out of it, and also all these eyes behind it and these feathers, this is kind of like your power animal, is what I'm seeing as a peacock. And the reason why this is your power animal is because it's like the peacock. It's interesting. The peacock has so many eyes on its feathers, right? And I don't know if you guys know about anything about the evil eye. I only know a little bit about it. I don't wear evil eye or anything like that. So don't attack me. Anyway, but if Peacock Spirit with Let It Shine, I'm just seeing you have all these evil eyes protecting you, basically. So no one can attack you. You're like immune to psychic attack. You're immune to almost physical attack. You're immune to kind of like all these ways that people could attack you. And the one thing that's really cool about this is the more you open your heart and the more you love others, what I'm seeing is the more protected you are from attack. It's really interesting because it's reminding me of this time, where I was trying to psychically communicate with a friend, but they were meditating with rose quartz at my house. And this was actually a big lesson for me, because I really learned that like rose quartz can actually be a good stone of protection as well. It can kind of like put so much love into the atmosphere that it's hard to send or transmit thoughts through it, if that makes sense. So it's really great for people who are psychic or who only want to transmit loving vibrations through the air at someone else, basically. Yeah, because when I was trying to communicate with this person, full disclosure, this was in my dark past. am not this person anymore, but I was communicating angry thoughts or dark thoughts towards this person. And then I kind of learned that like through meditation and through my further spiritual development to only send positive thoughts towards people and kind of keep those thoughts like pure and kind of like, it's like that, you know how they tell you how to, they say teach children or pets or anything with like positive reinforcement. That's kind of the lesson that I had to learn instead of negative reinforcement. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right here is it's like you have this ability to shield yourself from any form of attack, like no matter where it's coming from. Which is really cool. And that goes along with the moon thing and the hermit card here, because you've soul searched and you've understood yourself and you analyze these instincts or these aspects of yourself. The cool thing here is it's like you're able to control it in your environment. You're also able to protect yourself from any other psychic attacks is what I'm seeing with the peacock spirit. But the thing is, the way you grow in that protection is through opening up your heart. The more you share that heart or that loving side of yourself, the more you care about others, the more you love them. I am seeing love as a very potent and powerful form of self-discovery for you guys, because I'm thinking of the moments where I had self-discovery with love for myself. And I'm seeing that really strongly here, and that you're realizing love can be the strongest protection there is against any kind of attack. With Taurus here, I see that overall you have a very earthy demeanor. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't expect you to be this like have this much stuff going on inside you at all times. You know, with the Taurus energy here, I feel like you have a more laid back, relaxed, kind of chill vibe that's going on. I am seeing though with the North Node, you guys, if you have Taurus in your chart, look at where if there's any planets in Taurus or anything like that, because I am saying that might have an effect on your destiny with the North Node. Even if your North Node's not in Taurus, I am seeing that there's kind of like something there, maybe with the third house even. But overall, I'm just seeing that like you have this way of communicating with others that could be really profitable in the long run, because you have this, you're tapped into knowledge from like another time and place. And it's not so much the knowledge from another time and place, it's that you yourself are like from this other time and place, and you were like placed on Earth in this time. And there's a reason for that. More that we can go into in this reading. Maybe we will, but I'm going to pull some playing cards here, and we're going to get a little bit more information. We have Ace of Hearts for the Hermit, and we'll see what comes out, and then we'll wrap up the reading. Okay, let's see what we have here. For the Hangman, we have Seven of Hearts. For the Seven of Pentacles, we have Queen of Hearts. And for the Moon, we have Five of Hearts. Okay, the first thing I want to notice is all the playing cards are heart energy. So that just means in general that, because with the Hermit here, I am picking up that you guys are an old soul, or you just have so much knowledge and wisdom at your disposal. But with all the heart energy here, this is representing like the people around you, or the people that are attracted to you. They're all very young at heart. The people that are attracted to you are all very young souls, souls that have not had a lot of time on this planet. And the good thing about that, it's a good thing, because what I'm seeing is that you have this way of, with that education, with the third house representing early education, and also with the hearts here, with the third house also representing siblings, I am seeing that a lot of people that are attracted to you, they're first A, young at heart, B, they are all related to each other, like on a soul level. It's like you're attracting people who are like siblings with each other, and you're kind of like Mama Bear. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Or you're like Papa Bear, right? And you have all these people that are attracted to you. I see this as more like, as far as who people are attracted to you, a lot of disciples and students is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And the people who are romantically drawn to you have those kind of like wild, impulsive instincts. So I am seeing this kind of this like, how you guys are more of like a figure, or there's almost this vibe of you guys being like a parental type figure to others. It's interesting. I feel like you guys would get along with group one because they had more of a childlike energy, but you guys have this more of like this older authority type vibe to you. One thing that I'm seeing with the Ace of Hearts here with the Hermit is you guys can attract whatever love you want. If you haven't done this yet, I recommend it. It's when you're soul searching and you're discovering your true self, it's like not just like looking at the animalistic side of yourself, but with the soul searching itself, when you soul search, you can kind of start to see who is the next person coming into your life. Who is the next person, the next type of person that I will be attracted to. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with the Hermit here. It's like you'll be able to discover that next person through your soul searching. It's like as you're soul searching, kind of getting the vibe of like the third eye chakra, like when you're meditating, if your third eye is open or activated, sometimes you start to see shapes, or at least I see shapes. To be honest, I think a lot of you are more psychically advanced than I am. So I don't know how it would work for you, but I see shapes when I see use my third eye, and the shapes morph into different things. And then eventually I start to see images or visions. So I am seeing that like through these images and visions, you'll start to see people that you'll encounter, basically. So it doesn't have to be my example with the third eye. I just know however you guys soul search is how you see the visions of the people that are going to come into your life. With the Five of Hearts here, I am seeing that you have this one thing the Moon card does draw is a lot of adventurous people. The people with wild instincts are probably pretty adventurous. They probably want to take you places or go with you to places or have a crazy wild time. I am seeing that. With the Hangman here with the Seven of Hearts, I am seeing that you put a lot of faith in your perceptions of the world, and also you have this ability to kind of have faith in life or have faith in general. And if you haven't tapped into this ability yet, I am seeing that it's a very powerful ability for you. You have this ability to kind of like really put yourself, it's almost like you have faith in your relationships too. Yeah, you have the ability to put yourself on timeout, and through that timeout, see and feel the comfort of like higher beings, basically. It's so funny because I just like had to remind myself right at this moment in the reading that this reading is about what makes others attracted to you. So one thing that I am seeing with the Queen of Hearts here is this is kind of a component where I feel like you might actually attract a lot of female partners, you know. You might attract a lot of younger female partners into your life, or younger females that are drawn to you as far as like a relationship. And this goes for if you're a guy or a girl. I'm seeing a lot of younger feminine energies being really drawn to you. So people who have more of a feminine side. So it doesn't have to be like younger women being attracted to you, but it's like younger men as well are kind of drawn to you. Mainly the things that make you attractive, just to restate what we covered, right, is basically your ability to protect yourself and others with the peacock spirit, your ability to get other people out of a jam, your ability to ask others for help without like a worry about it, the hermit ability to soul search and also be that wise figure that helps others and is able to kind of manipulate their wilder instincts, your ability to have great perspectives, taking that time out to get those perspectives and waiting for the long game, knowing that the long game is where it's at, you know? The advice that I was going to say is maybe open up a little bit more with your communication about this future world that you're from, or if it's not even that you have to talk about the future world, it's that if you communicate more about yourself, right? Your own identity. And that's where the Leo energy comes in and mixes with this Taurus energy, right? It's like, the more you communicate about yourself or let yourself shine, that's where that Leo energy comes through with the peacock spirit too. It's also about letting that love out, but it's also about letting yourself shine and opening up yourself, because that's where that futuristic side of you with the North Node here is going to really resonate with others. One thing that I am saying, I didn't get to this card because Angel of Heralds, I don't know what a herald is. I'm going to be honest. And I thought about looking it up and I thought, no, this card's coming out for a reason. The cards don't just show up unless I have a way of like resonating with them on some level. And so with the Herald here, I feel like it's interesting because the Herald, the only Herald I know, I'm in like a little theater club right now and I'm doing like improv like exercises with them. And a Herald is like what they say is a form of like a setup for the show, basically, or a setup for like how the thing plays out. And so with Angel of Heralds, I feel like there's an idea here of like someone setting the stage for you, or there's an idea of you setting the stage. And so it might be very important. Your environment might be very important. The setting that you're in might be very important. Who you're around might be very important. So you might be the type of person who really chooses to place yourself in specific environments and gets very uncomfortable if you're in environments you don't like. That's something that I'm picking up here. And also with the Angel of Heralds here, I am saying this is kind of like a guardian angel, that the angels will set the stage for you to be where you need to be, to do what you need to do. It's like they're setting up the characters, the plot, the places, you know? It's like through that soul searching, you kind of can see the next person coming along, so you can think about this person a little bit and how you're going to interact with them. But then with the Angel of Heralds, it's like they're always setting the stage. You know, they're always your guides, your angels, or whatever you believe in is always setting the stage for you. They're always setting the structure, the format for how you're going to interact with those around you. And so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about kind of worrying about how the structure is going to develop, how the plan's going to develop, because I definitely see that one thing that is also makes you attractive is that you have this ability to work within that structure very well. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the reading there. This is what makes you attractive. This particular group was a little more abstract. I feel like a lot of stuff we talked about is what's under the surface. So maybe this reading's also to like help you see the beauty in yourself, or what makes you attractive in yourself. But what I am seeing is that like a lot of these factors are what people are drawn to. Or going back to the beginning of the reading with that square with the Leo and the Taurus energy, that tension, right, especially right here with the animal instincts and the animal people coming towards you. I think at some point in your life, you're going to want to work through that tension. And I think when you finally work through that tension, you'll have healed that inner like moon energy in yourself. And so I am seeing that a lot of those people will probably be less attracted to you at that point, and you might want to like drop that away. But that's like a long time off, as what I'm seeing for most of you. And you might spend most of your life actually dealing with this kind of moon-like energy in you. But yeah, that is the reading. With that said, I'm going to wrap the reading up. And if you like the reading, like or comment below. If you really like the reading, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really enjoyed this reading. You guys are very like complex but beautiful people. I just want to let you know that. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 3 with the Kunzite. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey group 3, this is if you picked the pink Kunzite. So you picked this lovely, pretty stone. So let's get into your reading. I've pre-drawn the oracle cards for you today. We have Knight, Snake Spirit, and Shatiel, Angel of Silence. So let's get into your reading. First, we are having some tarot cards here. I'm gonna pull some tarot cards, a couple love cards, and the astro dice, and then we will get into your reading. What makes you attractive? Okay. I feel like drawing all of them right off the bat. Wow. Powerful cards. Very powerful cards. I know I take forever to organize. And let's get a Whispers of Love card. Let's see, this one wants to come out. We have like attracts light. If you long for more love, be more loving. This pile's giving me chills. This pile's giving me chills, baby. Okay, so let's see. Let's get some love story oracle cards out here. We have patience and we have family. Wow. Okay, we're gonna roll the astro dice and then we'll get into the reading. We have Taurus, North Node. Wow, same as Taurus and North Node were both in the last group. And we have the 8th house. Okay, I'll be honest with you guys. I normally don't pull the Snake Spirit card. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. It's great to have you. If you are a returning viewer to my channel and you have not gotten this Snake Spirit card in any of your readings, welcome. I'm excited to read for you guys because this is probably going to be a different perspective of your personality that you haven't really seen yet. But for the most part, I am seeing some strong indications here. First of all, I am seeing that you guys are kind of represented by a Taurus, so you have probably a more of an earthy, relaxed, laid back nature is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. With the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups, we have two of the 10s in the Cups and the Pentacles suits, which are the slowest moving suits. The one thing that I'm seeing here is also representative really strongly of family is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. For example, immediate family and extended family. And also not just family, but the emotional side of family, the loving bonds, the connection, the feeling, the unity in that way. And also the practical side of family life. So for example, how money is transferred through family or money plays a part through family in that way. So I'm seeing family is a really big deal to you guys. I feel like you have really strong, healthy family bonds to people in your life. I feel like your soul's purpose is to spend a lot of time with your family, and people appreciate this aspect of you. If people ever see you with your family, they know that's what makes them attracted to you, because you guys are let me tell you, you are wifey material, you are hubby material, because you have this ability to basically be that family man or woman that everybody wants for their marriage or for their partner, basically. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting, is that a lot of you people see you and they're like, you know what? I might be playing the field now, but I'm going to come back and knock on group 3's door when I'm ready to settle down, because they are the vibe for a family. I feel like a lot of people who interact with you and who talk to you and who approach you as far as people who are romantically interested in you are people who are looking to settle down or are looking for more of a permanent situation. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Now it's interesting because we do have 8th house and the North Node here, and we do have the 10 of Pentacles. So I do see something that makes you attractive is people kind of see that you are gonna inherit a lot of money. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. With the 10 of Pentacles here in the 8th house, I am seeing there's kind of this vibe where it's people think you're going to come into a lot of money at some point, whether you marry into money or something like that. People see that you're going to have a way with like inheriting money from your environment. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Another thing that I'm also seeing with the 8th house here, it could mean that you like dealing with occult stuff or like occult sciences or anything that's kind of like mystical or mysticism is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. One thing that makes you attractive that like is something you probably tell people all the time or something like that, with patience and the 6 of Pentacles here, I am seeing that you guys have this way of being like, you know what, it's all going to balance out in the end. Like you have this way of kind of telling people that like the scales will tip in their favor in the long run. You know, it's like people might be like struggling in a period of time in their life or something like that. We see it down here with the 2 guys on the bottom of the 6 of Pentacles card. And you can either like help them out, but you kind of tell them it's like, you know what? The scales rebalance at some point. You know, the scales are always balancing or rebalancing. And so I definitely see that you're just like with the patience card and the hourglass here, it's like you just say only time will tell or only time is needed for this to balance out again. So you guys are the types of people that know that time heals all wounds. And we see that again here with the snake spirit, time to heal. I feel like you guys at certain points in your life have had to shed your actual skin. Okay, maybe not your actual skin, but you've had to shed your proverbial skin periodically in order to become a new version of yourself, right? So I feel like at different points in your life, you've been with, especially with the 8th house here, talking about transformations. This is another reason why the 8th house is here. You have this ability to transform yourself throughout different periods of your life with time to heal. And I definitely think that you realize that as time goes on, you've been so many different versions of yourself through the years and through the eons of being that you kind of realize that like time does heal all wounds. Like everyone has to kind of shed their skin and make room for the new at various different points in their life. And it's one of those things where I think people see that more in you as you're an example of that, if that makes sense. So I think people see that on one hand, you're the type of person who does change their skin every once in a while, or does have to shed their skin and start anew or rebirth. You kind of have this rebirth effect too. It's interesting. Another metaphor is coming to mind for the snake, very different from what I've been talking about. But I'm thinking of the snake in the Garden of Eden, in the biblical example of Adam and Eve, and how the snake, I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not that religious, but the snake tempted Eve to eat the apple, right? And so I am seeing this kind of aspect where you're kind of the bringer of knowledge to someone, if that makes sense. So someone might not know something or be ignorant about something or have a sense of innocence about them, and you are the one to enlighten them. You are the one to share the information or to share the knowledge. And the way you share knowledge is actually healing for them. So very different than the biblical story. But the thing is I'm getting is that the way you share knowledge is healing for others. That's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing with you guys. The thing is, it is like with the North Node here, it is your destiny to have this inheritance, to have this kind of sense of wealth. For you guys watching, you might not realize it right now, but you're meant to have a lot of money and pass that down through your family line. I feel like your family is so important to you, and I feel like a lot of family members like believe in you. I kind of see this whole support thing with your family. Also with like attracts like, if you long for more love, be more loving. This is just kind of like a thing that you guys can do to like attract more loving partners. So if you like send out that you want love or that you are loving others, you will also attract love in return. Also, another thing that I'm seeing is you attract like-minded people, or you attract people who are very much like you. So a lot of people who are attracted to you kind of see themselves in you. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting, is they kind of see a part of themselves in you, and that's why they're attracted to you. People who cannot see themselves in you are not very interested in you. You have this ability to attract people who are on a similar vibration, who are vibrating at a similar wavelength. So if you guys are the types of people who've kind of always thought that like opposites attract, I feel like one thing that you're going to experience in this lifetime, a powerful shift, is that sometimes someone who is very similar to yourself can attract you, be attracted to you, and it work out just as good, if not better, than two opposites being attracted to each other. I think that's something that's the lesson that you're kind of learning in this lifetime. And so one thing that I am saying is that with like attracts like, the cards are urging you and kind of saying that like if you focus on people who are similar to you or who have similar energies to you, you will attract more love and more relationships into your life, and especially even people who you are drawn to that don't want you back, basically. A good example of this is like, say you are a hockey player, right? And all you do is play hockey and you love playing hockey and you're such a gun-ho sports guy and you just love being with your buds and you're looking for a girl that is a musician, right? You're really attracted to singers. Maybe that's something like that. But you don't sing, you don't really feel a need to sing, but for some reason you're drawn to like performers or singers, or maybe you really have a crush on Beyonce or something like that and you really want to be with Beyonce. Well, what the cards are urging you to do is like, kind of in this example of the hockey player, right, is to kind of like start thinking like, what type of person is kind of similar to me? That is where you're going to find your highest compatibility. So for example, other hockey players, maybe you go check out the men's hockey team or the girls' hockey team or whatever the sex is that you're attracted to, and go check out their hockey tournament or something like that. And you find someone else who plays hockey and you realize like, wow, I really get along with this person or something like that. It's going to be something along those lines. A lot of us in this lifetime actually have the opposite thing happen to them. So some people really think that whoever is like them, they're going to be attracted to, and that's how it's going to be. So you're going to have people who are in the same like club or organization or something like that, who are drawn to people who are very similar to them, and they find out that's not what they want. That's not what they need. They don't need someone that's very like them. They don't need someone that is their similarity. They need someone that's their opposite, not you guys. You guys are the types that have always been drawn to your opposite. You've always looked for your opposite or someone who's very different from you in order to feel attracted to someone. When people have that kind of similar vibe to you, I feel like you almost reject it a little bit. But what I'm seeing is that what's going to increase your attractiveness, right, is to kind of not only loving yourself more, but loving people who are also like you more. And the fact is that'll just attract more and more potential partners into your life. Yeah, and it's kind of a weird concept, but that's another symbological is not a word, but that's the word that's coming to mind, even though it's not a word. With the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups here, you're meant to like people who are like you. And so it's interesting. You're meant to be with your family. I'm not saying date your family. I'm saying that like someone who's very similar to you or a very similar vibe to your family situation, or it's going to be someone who feels like home, someone who feels like you guys might have a close relationship where it's more like a best friend relationship where you have everything in common. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting for you guys. As far as like what type of person's attracted to you and what you will kind of amplify if you kind of put that energy out there. With strength and family, I am seeing that you get a lot of strength from your family. And with the family card here, I am seeing that you might have a way with young children, or there might be an attitude where you have this healing presence or this caring presence for your family members. So you might actually nurture sick family members back to health or something like that. There is this kind of very caregiving vibe that I'm getting with the Strength card. Another sign of the Strength card on a more robust note is it talks about can talk about like overcoming addictions or being really strong in your sense of self. I do believe your family gives you a strong sense of your own identity. And so that's something that is also coming through. With the Knight card, loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. I feel like if you are drawn to people like this, you're in a good position because you're like this. You are very loyal, you're very romantic, you're very chivalrous, and you have a strong sense of like honor about you. All of these things represent parts of who you are. You are a white knight. That is kind of the vibe that you have. And also, I think that you would be good with another white knight is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So I do see that you guys might have kind of like a savior complex, or a complex where you want to like save others or help others or come to the rescue or something like that. We see that again with time to heal here, but I feel like you guys have realized that you have to let things kind of run their course, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And you kind of have to let time heal the wounds for you. It's like you guys try to do it all yourself. You tried to heal everyone yourself, but then through your own transformations, you've realized, wow, you know, as I've transformed, I've realized that I've been healing myself, or that time heals me, or transformations heal me. So a lot of people that are drawn to you, it's like they see that you have that ability to kind of run in and save the day, but they also see that you hold back a little bit, and you kind of have this ability to kind of say, you know what, time's going to run its course, time's going to heal you, and I have like faith in that, basically, essentially. You know, I've been through this transformation in my life, or I've gone through this to this, or I've become this and then this. And so I feel like you are going to have a transformation too. Or there's something about you knowing that people go through these transformations, and there's something about you being an example of those transformations for others, where people, it gives them kind of like hope, like, oh, look, you know, group 3 went through this transformation and now they're on the other side of it and they're totally healed, or they're more healed. And wow, that's so crazy. Maybe I'll go through a transformation. So yeah, we're getting all those kinds of vibes for this group. With Angel of Silence, I want to point out that you have an Angel of Silence on your side. So one thing you're going to notice, every once in a while in your life, you will have moments where it might be a really chaotic place. Even if you live in the city, or you live somewhere where there's a lot of noise, there might be moments in your life where it goes completely silent. You know, there's kind of trees with snow here, and there's kind of like this vibe of like being stuck in the snow and just having that silence. Like, and it's a very calming silence. It's like the silence feels comforting, or at least it should. That's kind of how the angel's kind of coming through, as this kind of angel that provides you with silence to help comfort you. So you might realize, like, when things are really noisy or hectic or something like that, that like going away and like maybe meditating, or maybe finding a place where you can sit with yourself and be quiet, or be in a quiet atmosphere, that can be very rejuvenating for you. Also, I feel like your angels will kind of lead you to this quiet atmosphere so you can just kind of zen out and peace out. And there's kind of this feeling of like comfort here, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Also, this angel's body position reminds me of someone who's very coy or shy. And so I do think that like when you're praying to this angel, to make sure to be like encouraging or thankful or appreciative and say thank you a lot, because I do feel like on one hand, they might be a little nervous if you want to like use them, if that makes sense. They kind of feel like you might not want to use them or something like that. And it's kind of, in a way, it's making me a little sad, but it's just meant to show you that that you can call upon them when you need to, and they'll be there. It's just they're a little shy. So they might not like intervene like other angels like intervene in people's lives. You might have to like ask this angel, like, I need a moment to myself. Like, can you please provide that for me? And then this angel would step in and give you that moment, or some plan would get canceled or something, and you would get that moment to kind of just chill out and zen out and be silent. Wow, what a lovely reading. Okay, I'm gonna pull these playing cards for the last little part of the reading. Oh, we have one that wants to come out for the 10 of Pentacles, and we have the 10 of Clubs. Wow, 2 10s. I feel like with the 10s here, you guys are completing... Here, let me draw the rest of the cards. What else needs to come out? These 2 cards want to come out. We have 2 of Hearts, and we have Queen of Hearts, and we need one more. This card wanted to come out. We have the 7 of Hearts over here. So overall, I do feel with the hearts coming out and then the clubs coming out too, I feel like people who are generally on the younger side are attracted to you in general. I feel like you attract a lot of feminine, nurturing energy rather than masculine energy. I feel like more feminine energy is drawn to you in general. One thing that I am seeing with this love of this family here, I do feel like a woman or a woman in your family is like very loving and protective over you and really deeply cares about you. There's strong, loving, feminine energy in your family. With this kind of money, this 10 of Pentacles and kind of like this 8th house vibe, I am seeing one way that you can attract more money or resources to you is to use your mind and to use your teaching ability and to help people with like understanding concepts and structures and stuff like that. With the 6 of Pentacles here and the 7 of Hearts here, I do think that part of this ability to let things run their course, especially with this Knight of I was going to say Knight of Swords, Knight of Cups, something like that. But this is just a Knight. With this archetype card, this Knight, I do see that like trying to save people out of specific situations, it's better to just kind of let it run its course. So especially if you're not at this point yet and you're watching this reading and you're in the process of trying to save someone from some situation or something like that, the card here with the 7 of Hearts is saying that it's important to have faith and to present yourself in a position where it's like you have faith in them, that they can do it on their own. I think that's a big learning point and learning growth for you guys watching this, is that it's important to know that other people can get out of things on their own, survive on their own, especially with the Strength card here. I am seeing this kind of like ability of like this sense of independence, that helping people and being patient with them is really important. So one thing that could like attract more people to you, and what also makes you attractive if you've already worked on this, is just patience and faith in other people. You know, having patience that they're going to come around or they're going to go through their transformation, and also having faith that like they're going to make it on their own or they're going to do what they need to do on their own. With the 2 of Hearts, I am seeing something about your love affairs or your love life. I am seeing that really in your intimate lives, being really caring and considerate is really important. I feel like someone who is caring and considerate, who really takes the time to think of what they say to you and be really kind and considerate, is someone that's going to be really important in a love connection. I also feel with Strength here, you might also attract someone who's very strong or who has a very strong, sturdy kind of personality. Those types of people are also attracted to you. Let's see, I think that's about it. Let me see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, one thing real quick with the Knight here, it says shadow attributes. I'm just going to point out right at the bottom, it says romantic delusions. Something that is going to make people less attracted to you is if you have romantic delusions about them. So if you're kind of have this idea of who someone is in your head, but you're not paying attention to reality, I see that that kind of romantic delusion about someone, it could make people be more repelled by you, basically. So what I'm seeing also is it's important to let people be who they are with 7 of Hearts here. It's important to let people be their true selves, and really just kind of, the thing I'm picking up for this group is just listening to what's going on around you, right? Like listening to your environment. Like, what is this person really about? What are they saying to me? What are they doing around me? What do they really want? Like, what kind of vibe am I picking up? And just letting the vibe flow rather than trying to control it is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Wow, very cool. I'm really glad I got to read for you guys. What makes you attractive? You guys are very attractive people. Just want to let you know that. Also, thank you for watching this reading. If you liked the reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, we're going to move on to the 4th group with the Tiger Iron. And thank you guys again for letting me read for you. It was a pleasure. Hey, group 4, this is if you picked the Tiger Iron. So, such a cool stone. I think hopefully you can get the visuals of that. I really like this stone. My sister found these when we went to this rock and gem show recently, and she was looking at them. She bought the really, really cool one, and I bought the like second coolest one. Anyway, so, you know, you got to give your sister the best deal. So, we have your cards here for your oracle cards. We have Exorcist, Antelope Spirit, and Da'at with Null Emptiness. I'm going to shuffle tarot cards on camera with a few other oracle cards, and then we will get into your reading on what makes you attractive. So let's see. Okay. We've got the King of Cups coming out. Let's see what else wants to come out. I think I'm going to have to draw. We have the Three of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and we have the Four of Pentacles. And we're going to draw some, actually I'm going to draw the Whispers next. Draw the Whispers of Love card. And your card is, love is all around you. There is love everywhere at all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. And we're going to pull some Love Story Oracle cards. Pull a lot of cards for this reading. So let's see. This one kind of is being sneaky. We have Friendship over here. Oh, so cool. Okay, and let's see what else you get. We have Influence. So we'll put that over here. Oh, that's a trippy combination. If this combination, Ace of Pentacles and Influence, is what I think it is, that's pretty cool that you guys have this as part of your personality. Okay, I'm going to roll the Astro Dice, and then we will get into the reading. So we have, okay, that makes sense. And Jupiter, wow, and Pisces. Okay. Let's look this over and we'll get into your reading. Okay, I'm already seeing some stuff and I just kind of want to just jump right into it without looking it over too much. Because I want to get out what I have, like in my head, I want to get it out in the reading so I can get it all to you guys, basically the messages to you. So first, where should I start? Oh my gosh. Let's talk about like what you do for other people that makes them attracted to you. So we have Exorcist here. It says freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. I feel like you guys are the types of people that kind of can get people to follow a specific purpose in their life and get them on the right track. I feel like you guys are that type of person that's kind of guiding others, sometimes subtly, sometimes more aggressively, but you're like constantly guiding others and like helping them get on the right path in life is kind of what I see from like your main energy. And I think people like that about you. They like the fact that you kind of tell them like, okay, look, this habit's unhealthy or this habit's not good for you or something like that. And then you kind of get people to change or turn their life around. So I definitely think that you kind of have this ability to, now this could be even on a literal example. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever exorcised demons from someone or something, but this could be very literal. Like you have to like banish evil forces from your friends or something like that, or help people stay in a pure mindset. Now, I am seeing this Exorcist card as just general as a motivating card. We also have Antelope Spirit, life is speeding up. I feel like you guys live a pretty fast, active, and fast-paced lifestyle, and I think people really like that about you. We have the 2 here indicating partnerships, and I do see that people appreciate when you take them along for the ride. So that's something that people find really fascinating about you because you have this way of like, how do I put this? You live this kind of fast, active lifestyle, right? And they're kind of like constantly going and doing and being and getting things done and stuff like that. And people like when they get to go along for the ride, even if it's just like to the grocery store or to like go shop for a clothing item or something. People like going with you on these adventures. I feel like you guys have a good sense of humor. That's just something that's kind of coming through, but I feel like deeper than that, they just have fun on these adventures. Something wild always happens on these adventures, and there's something always like that's a blast when you guys are like going on these different adventures together. I feel like one thing that might be interesting for some of you is you guys might run away from specific things. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with Antelope. Like you guys might like chase or run away from a person or someone like that. This could be something that's going back to your childhood, like what people appreciated you in childhood. If you ever played and in the school ground or something like that, like tag or chasing or something like that, you were always like the fastest one and you appreciated other kids that were fast. And so you guys were always like the fastest, or you'd get away, or there's something about slipping out of trouble or getting out of trouble, or kind of, I feel like you guys are so entertaining as well that it's easy for you to get out of predicaments like that because you have kind of a charm about you as well. It's kind of the vibe that I'm picking up. Overall, you guys are a great friend. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. You're a great friend, and I feel like you really treasure your friendships. With the Four of Pentacles here, I feel like you guys collect friends. Like, you almost collect friendships. You're the types of people that have kind of like a group around you at all times. You have a whole bunch of friends, and you just kind of have a really like active, fast-paced kind of vibe going on. Now, there are some other factors here to consider. So first we have da'at, null emptiness, and this is kind of something that some people find really attractive about you, but I don't think they would bring it up to you. But your internal world, or the world that you are inside of you, and you probably already know this, people see it as empty, if that makes sense. It's like you don't have a depth to your personality. And now this is a really good thing, because a lot of people, when they have a depth to their personality, they store a lot of negative stuff in there, like trauma and pent-up aggression and all these different things. And so their inner being is very dense, right? Your inner being, on the other hand, is very empty. It's like whenever you feel something, you express it. Or whenever you want to do something, you do it. There's no like hidden motives or anything like that in your body. You're just kind of like an empty vessel on the inside. And that's what null emptiness is being represented here by. The interesting thing about this card is it's also represented as kind of like your guardian or your angel. And so when you get into tricky situations, or you have something that's weighing you down, your angels will literally pluck it from inside you and pluck it out of you. And in that way, you kind of keep this peaceful interior. That's another thing here with the King of Cups that I'm seeing, is because your insides are so empty, or so, how do I put it? It's like people who, like, if they were to ask you, like, what are you thinking about? Like, if you ever like zoned off or zoned out, people would probably ask, like, oh, what are you thinking about? What's going on in your head? And you just respond to them like, nothing. Like, I'm not thinking about anything. Like, I'm just enjoying the present moment. You know, you guys are so in the present moment that there's literally no thoughts going through your brain. I feel like a lot of people who are like Zen Buddhists, or people who study enlightenment and meditation, they would love to be in your position, because you have this clear, empty mind. It's like you don't have these kind of things weighing you down, is what I'm kind of seeing. And because of that, with the King of Cups here, this just shows that you guys are great in emergency situations. That's another reason why people find you attractive, is because you can just handle things when they arise, right? If something comes up, immediately you can take action and deal with it, because you're not in your head thinking about what to do next, if that makes sense. I feel like you guys would be great at like improvising. You'd be great at emergency situations, like working as like an EMT or something like that, because you have this ability to kind of like immediately take action in your environment. And at the same time, you have this ability to not store negativity in your body, if that makes sense. I feel like you guys kind of remind me of, there was a psychology article I read a while back, and in the article they talked about like people who have like light wireframe structures, where they kind of have this like emptiness about them. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting for you guys. Let's get what else. The friendship card is coming up twice. So we have the friendship tarot card, and we have the friendship love card. So first of all, this is coming out to show that you guys kind of like hoard your friendships. And then this is coming out next to the King of Cups, showing that like you actually can handle emergency situations in your friendships as well. With love is all around you, there is love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. This is something that I think, I don't know if it weighs you down. Like, it's hard for me to like say like, oh, something worries you guys, because I feel like you don't have a lot of worries. I feel like, honest and truthfully, you kind of keep a very pure and empty internally in like vessel inside yourself. Just because you know that like, that gives you the freedom to do a lot on the outside. It's like your outer life is so active and busy and filled with things to do. And I definitely see that like on the inside, you guys just keep this kind of calm center, or this kind of empty center. Empty is coming through as well as calm, because King of Cups talks about a calm center being centered within yourself so you can handle emergencies. And emptiness right here just shows that center that you go to is a sense of emptiness. So where other people, their center could be like a dream that they hold on to, or something that like means something that's very meaningful to them. And that could be their center that they have within them. And then that keeps them balanced in life, like a purpose, right? Like King of Cups can talk about like, oh, I have this purpose within me. That's what's keeping me centered. And whatever else I can handle, because I know that I have this one specific thing going on. You guys, it's actually the one specific thing is a sense of emptiness. It's a sense of knowing that you're going to keep an empty mind. You're going to keep an empty vessel, because it just helps you improvise in your daily life that much better, right? I feel like people, honestly, like you guys might be pretty logical in a sense, because I am seeing that on one hand, we have some like we have like Pentacles and Cup cards here, which just indicates that you guys have a groundedness to you, as well as that kind of like ability to kind of like be fast paced or active. So you do have kind of like a groundedness to you as well. But the one thing that I'm seeing is that you guys might not be the most emotional people, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And I hesitate on saying that. The reason I hesitate on saying that is because we do have indicators here about emotion. We have like the Three of Cups, the King of Cups, and we also have the Pisces card here. But I am seeing, or the Pisces dice here, but I'm seeing this more in the sense of the cups of like the imaginative side of the cups instead of the emotional side of the cups. I feel you guys don't really have any kind of like you don't have guilty feelings, or you don't hold resentments about people. You really just have this pure inside that kind of doesn't really retain any kind of like vendettas against people or anything like that. You just have this kind of internal emptiness. So I feel like when people meet you, they're like, whoa, this person's just like empty on the inside, but they're like a ton of fun on the outside, you know? I feel like you guys might actually repel certain people who want to, like, for example, you guys might actually repel psychologist types, or people who are trying to figure you out or figure people out. It's like you perplex them. I feel like if you've ever first of all, I don't think you guys would ever be in therapy, because I feel like you deal with your stress in such a healthy way. You don't bottle it up. But if you ever were in therapy, or you ever met someone who was a therapist or a psychologist, they would find you very, very frustrating, because they wouldn't find anchors within you or things to fix or problem solve. On the other hand, you could be very refreshing to these types, like to therapists or psychologists, because especially if they're overworked, or they have a really busy, hectic job, or they have a lot of clients coming to them, because I see that they see you as someone who's like just purified on the inside, that doesn't have those stressors that life comes and brings us on the daily, you know? So there's this kind of like really cool, peaceful, pure emptiness that's like within you that's really like beautiful. It really creates like a fun personality on the outside. And I feel like you guys don't have, what's it called? I feel like it's just rare that you guys get depressed or anything like that. Also with the friendships, I feel like this is really attractive to a lot of different friends, and especially you guys probably attract a lot of superficial friendships, or friendships that don't have a lot of like analysis or depth or trauma or difficulties in the friendships. It's like very like commonplace, and how do I put this? Commonplace is probably the wrong word. It's just very fun. Like the vibe is very fun. It's very like flirty. It's very like lighthearted. I'm thinking of butterflies, and how like, you know, like a butterfly is kind of just like floating around, and they don't really have a care in the world. I'm seeing kind of like a social butterfly component to you guys as well. I feel like you guys, this doesn't mean that you're not loving, because we have the love is all around you. Love is everywhere, that all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. You guys are extremely loving and caring people. And specifically, I'm seeing loving too. It's not necessarily that you care for others or like help others in a caring way, but you do love everyone that you meet, and you have this ability to love all people all at once, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, now with the Ace of Pentacles and the influence, you guys have, even though you have this sense of emptiness within you, you are being shown here as someone who receives divine help from the universe, specifically with money. Like in the trickiest parts of your life, I definitely see that money comes through when you are struggling the most, or when it's not even like struggling, it's just like when you need money, it comes. And with influence here, I am seeing that part of this comes from how you influence your environment. And what do I mean by that? Like you guys might have a way of negotiating deals with people where you can kind of like communicate with others in a way where you can benefit from those deals. So you can get a profit from those deals. And Pentacles doesn't necessarily have to just do with wealth or money. It has to do with like practical things. So you guys might actually have a way of, how how do I put this? You can kind of get people to do practical activities for you without them kind of realizing that they're doing them. And you can kind of make it like a game or into a game or kind of fun. And so with this influence card, I definitely see you have this ability to influence others to help you in the practical level. And also with influence, I definitely see there's kind of this vibe coming through that you guys kind of get communication from higher forces or higher beings, like either angels, spirit guides. If you believe in God, it's a voice of God speaking through you, and it helps you with practical realities in your everyday life. So this could just be like simple as, like getting spiritual guidance for like cleaning your car or mopping the floor or something like that. I feel like you're being guided to do certain practical activities in your daily life to make profit off of them. So money-making deals would be very beneficial for you guys, especially working with others and because you're not only hearing the voice of like your friends and your relatives and the people working with you and you influencing them, but a higher being is influencing you to kind of be the one that kind of organizes all these kind of activities, if that makes sense. We have Jupiter in the 10th house here and Pisces here, which just indicates that your job or the thing that people really like about you is something about your career. There's something with the money too. It's like, there's something about your social position or your career or how much wealth you possess or something about your position or your reputation. You guys have an immaculate reputation. I feel like people speak very highly of you all the time. It's like not a single person meets you that's like, oh, they're a horrible person. I feel like you guys just have a reputation that exceeds or goes above other people's. And with Jupiter here as well, this is kind of where you guys expand your luck, right? It's through your status, basically, and like how you're perceived in the world is kind of like how I'm seeing that you guys are, like how people appreciate you and like you is kind of like your position that you're in, and not only the position that you're in, but how you treat others within that position. It just kind of, there's a whole bunch of respect for you is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, that people just respect you. And that's kind of like a brilliant thing. Now we also have Pisces here, which I'm seeing more as the imaginative version of Pisces. So I definitely see that something in your career requires imagination. It requires ingenuity. It requires the ability to kind of see into the depths of people's souls, basically. Mostly it's your career. I'm trying to keep it very, this reading in particular, I'm trying to keep it very like surface, because there's a lot of things that people are attracted to on a surface level, and the reading is coming through as very surface, if that makes sense. So with this, I'm just going to say imagination is the key thing in your career, that something about your imagination is what attracts others to you and kind of makes people respect you in the same way. Okay, let's draw some more cards. I'm going to pull some playing cards for you guys, and this is going to just help with how other people like you and just general things in the reading to like build upon. So let's draw some playing cards here. What kind of playing cards want to come out for group 4? We have Queen of Clubs, we have Queen of Swords, and we have, or Queen of Clubs, Queen of Spades, 7 of Hearts, and 10 of Clubs. One thing that I am seeing, the reason you guys collect your friendships and the reason you have friends is specifically because you need people to teach. I feel like you guys need to pass on your ideas. So you're going to attract a lot of people who are receptacles for knowledge or for information. And I see with freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses, you guys have this way of like bringing people back to that innocence of like childhood, essentially, or that sense of purity. It's almost like, and purity is almost the wrong word. It's basically, it's not about being pure necessarily. It's about being empty. It's like you bring other people to the same emptiness that you have within yourself. And the beautiful thing about that is that people can feel lighter or freer in your company. They can feel less encumbered or less burdened. And that's kind of a vibe that I'm getting here, as well as this kind of ability for you to teach and educate others. It's like through teaching and educating others, you're literally using knowledge and kind of wisdom to unlock an emptiness in other people. The best way I can describe this is Like say you're using a logical argument that someone else relates to from their past or their childhood or something like that. Maybe throughout their life they've built up all these other arguments and things that have kind of made their mindset very convoluted. So you go back to the core argument and teach them that core argument. And for some reason, when it brings them back to that grounded place of that first point that they were at, all the rest of the information in their mind just kind of flies away, basically. So you kind of create this emptiness in them. This is really beautiful because you guys this is kind of a version of enlightenment that people kind of seek in this world, is kind of like the feeling of having an empty mind or an unclouded mind, basically. So they can have this kind of sense of freedom within, and so they can have freedom without. With the emergency situations with the 7 of Hearts here, I see that you guys are kind of a diplomat, right? So you have this ability to deal with other people's jealousies and insecurities, and the ability, you have this kind of way of maneuvering people's, how do I put this? You have a way of navigating relationships where you can like deal with the uncomfortable emotions in people and kind of navigate through those, because those to you are just as much something that's on the outside of reality rather than something that comes from within someone. It's like you deal with them on the surface level, if that makes sense. For some people, this could get a little frustrating because you're not digging to the core of their emotion, of what they're feeling. But for a lot of people, they really appreciate this because I feel like it really does settle the score, at least for the time being. Now over here, we have the Queen of Spades and the Queen of Clubs, both queens of the shadow, right? Because these are both black cards, right? Instead of the hearts right here, which is the red card. So this is indicating nighttime. And this is also indicating like females or women. So I am seeing this kind of like mysterious, like, especially with the cat here, I'm seeing this sense of like mystery that is like people who are drawn to you are very mysterious. So there might be you might have a few admirers that are drawn to you or hang around you, but they're like quiet. They hang in the background. So if you're like in your friend group and you're making everyone kind of laugh and stuff like that, or you're making everyone kind of just like have a blast or have fun, the thing is like these people are like on the outskirts. They're the dark and mysterious feminine types. Or if you're a woman, they're the dark and mysterious masculine types that are a little bit shy, right? That are more in touch with their feminine energy. Because I am seeing that these types, these kind of dark and like shadowy and quiet types, are the types that are the most drawn to you or the most attracted to you. Also, these types are very much kind of like cats. They're very much kind of like, oh, I will, love you when I want to love you. And, and that's all there is to it. It's kind of like very much a cat. Like instead of a dog who just wants love all the time, they have more of a cat-like personality where they're kind of shy or aloof, or I'm going to approach you when I feel like approaching you. So I feel like the people that are attracted to you are the types that kind of like, they deal with things on their own terms, or they want to approach you on their own terms is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Yeah, I think that about covers this reading. Thank you guys for letting me read for you. I really enjoyed reading for you. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, if you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, we're going to move on to Group 5 with the Chrysoprase. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, Group 3, not 3, 5. Hey, Group 5. If you picked the Chrysoprase. So this is a lovely, like evergreen, foresty kind of stone. And yeah, let's get into your reading. We have your oracle cards already drawn. We have Mediator, Vulture Spirit, and let me see if I pronounce this, Simikiel. So let's get into your reading. We're gonna do some tarot cards to start, a little bit more oracle cards, and then we will get into it. So this card coming out, we have 8 of Pentacles. See what else wants to come out. I'm gonna take this top card actually. We have the 4 of Wands. This card also wants to come out. We have the King of Pentacles. And we also have, this card wants to come out, the Page of Pentacles. See you guys. Let's see what else is coming through. See what Whispers of Love card wants to come through. We have Miracles and Blessings. Everything has its gift. And then I also want to pull 2 Love Story Oracle cards for you guys. This one wants to come out. Over here we have Memories. Very cool. And one more. This one wants to come out. We have Balance. Okay, so I was seeing some things initially, and these cards are kind of balancing out the reading. So let's see what else. Oh yeah, we got to roll the Astro Dice, and then after that we'll get into the reading. Okay, we have the 9th house, we have Taurus, and we have Pluto. Very cool. God, there's so much here. Okay, I'm just going to start reading. I don't want to get too deep into it because I feel like I want to just kind of grab the surface of this for a second before I go deeper into it. So, let's see, where do I begin? The first thing that is drawing my energy that I kind of was like, oh, you guys, I see you, you know, before these other cards came out was the King of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. And I just want to talk a little bit about what I saw initially because it kind of underlines your nature, but it's not as crazy as it sounds. So with the King of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles here, I see that you're made of one substance, if that makes sense. So for example, you are a certain way, like you have a being about you. It's just that you're alternating between this really young student position and this older teacher position. And the way I was seeing it first and the kind of way that I can explain it is that on one hand, with the King of Pentacles, you're a very dominant, assertive force. You're like the master, right? So like in relationships too, you're like the master. Like this, the thing that's coming through with this pile is like dom sub relationships, basically. And I didn't pick up that in any of the other piles. So if you guys are in the like Dom sub community, and to be honest, I don't know much about it. So I'm just going to be reading from what I know and what I see in the card. So it might go into what you guys deal with and stuff like that. But if you're in the Dom sub community, you might actually be into getting into that kind of community if you're not a part of it already. But basically you have this ability, you're what they call, I think, a switch hitter or something like that. So basically, like with King of Pentacles, you like being the dominant one at certain times, and then you will go into this being this like innocent, submissive one at other times. So, but the thing is that I want to make clear is they're both Pentacle cards, so you're made of the same substance, which is indicating that you're very practical, you can be very realistic, and in those areas of life, you can either be a student or a teacher. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So it applies in like the sexual sphere as well as the like life skills sphere, if that makes sense. And I am seeing with the 9th house here, education is really a big part of this kind of group as well. So educating others or learning from others. And so with the 9th house being next to the King of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles, this is not only in the sexual sphere where you guys are kind of like dominant and submissive, because people are attracted to that vibe that you have. They like the back and forth contrast. That's what makes you attractive. It's not something to be like ashamed about or sad about because people like this. Like people want it. They like the fact that you're dominant at one moment and then submissive the next. They like those contrasts. They think it's like sexy, hot, intimidating, yet playful. They're like really into this kind of vibe. And so I am seeing that on the flip side of not just the sexual component of this kind of like aspect, it's like with the 9th house here, you have this on a educational aspect as well. And it's very interesting how this operates because I see that you guys have kind of a very realistic fact-based knowledge about the world. And it's like when you know what you know, you're dominant, you're forceful, you're assertive. And that kind of leads over into the bedroom, right? But also when you don't know something or you don't know a piece of information and you're in the learning phase of learning that topic or something like that, you kind of become submissive and you like treat the other person as someone who's very much more advanced than you. And I mean, these are very extremes. It's not like we have the knight and the queen in between here. It's like you're going from child to adult, master, grandfather energy. So it's like, it's like very much like the lowest of the totem pole to the top of the totem pole, basically. And you kind of alternate between both of those. And that's kind of the main vibe that people find attractive about you. That's the main thing that I saw. Another thing that this card came out to kind of help explain it is with balance. This is a way that you can help balance others out by switching between these two personalities, basically, or switching between these two modes of existence. So with balance here, I am seeing that you guys will probably end up in a relationship with someone who's your counterpart who can switch with you, right? Because there's a lot of people in this world who play one role, and they're only single faceted people. You guys are very multifaceted people. Your personality has a lot of shades, a lot of differences, a lot of things on a spectrum, right? Specifically, you have two roles that you go back and forth pretty I'm even seeing quickly. Like, it could be one moment you're like dominant, and then if you find out you don't know something, you're immediately submissive. And then all of a sudden you're like dominant again when you feel like you've gained the upper hand. And so I am seeing this kind of like attitude. And so with balance here, you need someone who can go back and forth with you on these quick changes of personality. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. People who are attracted to you feel like they can balance you out. And that's what makes you attractive to them, is they feel like you balance them out. So the main key like component here, the overriding philosophy, is this sense of balance. It is trying to find the yin to your yang, or at least from moment to moment. That's the key word here. Moment to moment, find the yin to the yang. So when you're yin, they're immediately yang. When they're yin, you're immediately yang. And vice versa. It's just, that's kind of the vibe of people who are like, want to take on the challenge of kind of being with you, or being like in your vibe, basically. Yeah, with the 9th house here, I feel like you guys are excellent teachers, excellent educators. You speak on subjects that are not just the typical subjects you learn in school. It's like stuff that like you've studied yourself or you've learned from experience, and you expect to receive that kind of knowledge from others. Like, if people give you simple book answers to things, I feel like you guys are very like you're not like, upset's the wrong word. You're just like bored, I think. You're just kind of like, okay, well, I thought you knew. And it might have you switch hit, right? Like, so for example, if you feel like you're like teaching someone something in this King of Pentacles energy, and then all of a sudden someone like starts talking to you like they know better or they know of it, you're instantly gonna be like, okay, I'll listen. And you go into this submissive energy. But if the information is pretty dull or not relevant, I feel like you instantly go back to this King of Pentacles energy. And I feel like this is where sometimes you guys can clash with people, because it's like you're taking your dominant knowledge and they're taking their like knowledge that's not really relevant, or the relevance, like, I think that's the right word. I would just call this knowledge vanilla, because I really feel like going with that Dom sub metaphor here, I feel like if someone else has vanilla knowledge, or knowledge that's not even like relevant to the situation, or it's kind of like knowledge that can't be used in like an experiential sense, I feel like you're very much like, you know what, I can pass on that, and you get kind of dominant and you enforce your own opinion, basically. Could be where could be power clashes, but for the most part, people love this interplay in your personality. They love the fact that like, they see it as kind of refreshing. I feel like a lot of people in this world are so stuck in one way of being, if that makes sense. They have one mode of acting, one mode of operating, and they do that same mode all through life. They're either always the teacher or always the student, but you guys have this way of going back and forth between both. And that's what's so cool, and why people are attracted to you, because they're like, whoa, they have both those sides to them. And then it kind of inspires them to want to create both sides in them too, to give them that balance. So let's continue on with this reading. One thing that I am seeing with the Taurus symbol here representing your guys' general energy, and we also have the King of Pentacles with the Taurus like in the chair that he has. We have the bull heads in the chair. So there's Taurus is very strong energy here, or at least you guys have a very Taurian kind of vibe to you. Like it's almost like laid back as well as like assertive, if that makes sense. It's like you have that kind of laid back side to you that also is in effect here. Also with the 8 of Pentacles, I am seeing, and especially next to the Pluto, I am seeing this vibe of like patience in your transformations, or patience in what you are working on. Another thing that's kind of just coming to me, because I see the guy crafting things and Pluto is here. This could be something related to, you guys could work with crystals or like rocks or jewelry or something like that. Or you could craft like objects or artifacts or something like that. You could go on like archaeological digs or something like that. That's something that's just coming through as a side note. But for the most part, I see that you guys kind of transform whatever you're working on, or the process of learning something. It's like a slow but sure transformation. So for example, and people really like this about you, they see it as very steadying and kind of calming. So even though your personality has these back and forths, you would think people would be excited by you because of the fact of this dynamic, but you also have a calmness to you at the same time, specifically in how you work on things. So for example, when you guys practice a skill, or when you decide to educate yourself on something, or when you're working on your hobby, or when you're learning something new, I feel like this Pluto transformation card, that's really where your soul's growth and development transforms, is through these hobbies and craftsman-like learning abilities and capabilities. This could even apply to education itself, like a school working in like a school system, or learning a specific task or something like that. But the practicing over and over again on these practical things, these practical projects with this Pluto energy here, it's like that's what's transforming you in the long run. That's what's creating you into being a new and better and greater version of yourself. And people kind of see that. They see that, like, if they've known you for a long time too, this is kind of really coming in for sure. If they've known you for a long time, they see that in a previous part of your life, you were someone totally different than in another part of life. And they can see that the work that you do, or whatever the job that you're working on, actually contributes to your growth and development. If you guys have not discovered your career yet, or the career that's right for you, especially if you're a younger viewer watching my channel, I highly recommend getting career readings, or finding someone who does a really good career reading, or someone who specializes in that. I know I do those a little bit on my channel sometimes, but I'd really recommend getting like a professional career reading from a psychic or a tarot reader or something like that, or like finding like career aptitude tests online or something like that, or kind of figuring out where your passion lies, because I definitely see you're meant to be doing some kind of specific thing over and over again, or multiple specific types of jobs over and over again, in order to grow your personality. It's like as you get better at this career, or as you get better at this job, your personality evolves and gets more structured and more potent and more powerful. With Pluto here, we have an element of control, and that's also in a lot of your personality as well. There is a sense of domination. And like I said with the Dom sub thing, I'm going to come back to that, right? There is a sense of like being dominant towards others. And I definitely see you guys have, in a weird way, with the Mediator and the Angel of Vengeance, you have this kind of sixth sense for knowing where to strike to keep peace in your environment. Now, you guys might be thinking like, okay, this sounds sadistic, but it's not that sadistic. It's basically like you guys know where the weak spot is in an argument in order to mediate the dispute. So for example, if not only are you teaching and educating, going back from that sub and dom position, but with Mediator here and Angel of Vengeance, it's like you have this ability when people are in a fight or discussing things, you know who to attack in the exact right, almost like a surgeon and a scalpel. I'm looking at this guy's sword here that he has in his hand, and it says Angel of Vengeance. And that's the thing, I think you guys could confuse this with vengeance in and of itself, right? Because I feel like you get to a point where you just get impatient with someone and you're like, okay, you know what? Like, you need to stop talking or something like that, or you need to be quiet, or you need to something like that. And so your vengeance will get to a point where you're like, and when you guys feel vengeance, that is a sign that the scales are out of balance, basically. So with the Mediator card here, when you start to feel vengeance, this angel kind of like pushes vengeance into you in order for you to see where to move next in your discussions, and like, how do I put this? In disputes and in arguments in your environment with your friends and your relatives and stuff like that, and even in your own arguments, a creeping vengeance will come up in you to get you to switch into the more dominant role, to put things back in their place, basically. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Now, the interesting thing is, don't think you're just like swinging a sword around, chopping people's heads off and stuff like that. Because I am seeing with the King of Pentacles and the Taurus card here, you guys do have a very calm, like a calmness to you, if that makes sense. So you're dominant in a very calm way. Like, this could actually scare a lot of people too, because I'm seeing that you have such a calm sense about you that when people definitely won't cross, you definitely have a sense of boundaries about you, basically. Like, people will not cross your boundaries. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like, there's no matter what, like, I feel like it would be very foolish to try to cross your boundaries, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But the thing is, the way your personality is, it kind of encourages discussions and arguments and like debates between people, basically. And so when the vengeance creeps up, that's when you're kind of know to like cut off the argument or cut off that person from talking so another person can talk. It's like you guys are kind of like the masters or the center of conversation in a sense. And it's almost like with practical things. That's why we have the pentacles here. It's more with like the practical components of life as well. With Vulture Spirit, nothing is wasted. I feel like you guys are very efficient to the extreme. You don't have, you don't waste anything is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And a lot of people see that as really respectful of the earth and really respectful of the environment. I see the people that are attracted to you kind of value the fact that you don't waste things, value the fact that you kind of are you conserve your resources, your energy. You also conserve like I'm thinking like when you go to, you know, like say you go to like get fast food all the time or something like that. There would be like, you would save your napkins, right? And you would just keep them and then you would use them and you would save things like that. So I feel like you guys have this ability to kind of like not waste things in your environment and kind of make use of every single person in your environment. It's like you guys have with this Vulture Spirit, with him being a bird, it's like you see the bigger picture and you know how to put everyone in their proper place. I am getting like manager vibes as well to this group. For this group, like you guys have this ability to be managerial as well as like focused on this dom sub stuff. It's like you could work really well with the group. So I feel like what makes you attractive too is that like your inferior people, not inferior, oh my God, what am I saying? Your subordinates, there we go, or people that are below you in a job atmosphere or any kind of area where you manage, they look up to you and they look up to you with respect basically because you have this ability to see the bigger picture and not waste any person. Like everyone's put to good use basically and the whole team works very efficiently. One thing that I can say that is like really amazing with you, that people, when they get to know your softer side, which I see is something that really comes out in your close relationships. With the Four of Wands here and the Memories card, I feel like you guys like to have a good time. You like to party, you like to celebrate, you like to have a good time. And those parties and celebrations are where you develop your biggest and strongest memories. It's like your whole mind is filled with all happy memories or all positive vibes. And that's kind of the cool thing about you, is when people get with you and they kind of are sentimental with you, it's like you only remember the positive stuff. And that's kind of one thing that people really, really appreciate. It's like, wow, they always remember like that celebration or that party or that time I made them laugh. This person specifically will definitely remember any time that you made them laugh. And they'll remember that kind of like with a very deep fondness in their heart, basically. Their memories go deeper than just memories. They like affect this person, your guys group 5, they affect your soul. The memories affect your kind of like very soul. And so people see that, they're like, wow, they really remembered that. And that was like such a fun time. And I can't believe that I almost forgot about that. And so that's something that's really great about you guys, is you have this ability to remember the most beautiful, wonderful things in your life that have ever happened to you. And that's kind of like one of your things that you share with your close friends. I feel like a lot of stuff that's coming to mind with the Pentacles cards here, there's a lot of stuff about work, I'm not gonna lie, or a lot of stuff about education or debates or stuff like that. And I am saying that a lot of your admirers, or what makes you attractive, people are attracted to those qualities, but your closest people that get close to you, and probably your soulmate, when you do meet your soulmate, will be attracted to the fact that you remember the most fun times. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. You remember the best times with your loved ones and parties that you've been to and celebrations, weddings, birthdays. You remember the momentous occasions and you kind of like share them with others. You have these deep memories of like love for others, basically. With miracles and blessings, I am seeing it says everything has its gift. This is kind of just coming through to say that what we've talked about in today's reading, I am, as a reader, I'm kind of speaking with things kind of in a more like a darker tone. Basically, we talked about an angel of vengeance that works for you, and that might not necessarily be the most comfortable angel for most people to deal with. But the thing is, it is a signal for you to like make a move to kind of create peace in your environment, right? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And everything has its gift. You know, people are attracted to you more than the other groups. I will say you have more people attracted to you than some of the other groups in this reading. I think there was like one other group I could pick up that they had a lot of people attracted to them. But you guys have so many people attracted to you because of these qualities. And it's one of these cards that's coming through to say, don't ever feel down on yourself or guilty for who you are or how you present yourself in the world, because someone needs that personality. Someone needs that person. I feel like you guys may have been dealt with some people who were very vocal and told you were mean or uncaring or unkind or something like that, and it really affected your self-esteem. You guys are not mean, caring, or unkind. You like a good debate. You like philosophy. You have a beautiful way of being this kind of switch hitter, multifaceted personality. With Pluto here, you're always transforming. You're becoming new and different. You're meant to be in this life to be a multifaceted human being, basically. And some people who are so one-dimensional and they can only think about the surface level of, like, I guess the best way to put it is happiness, without knowing that happiness has many fluctuations and it takes work to get there. You know, I feel like that's why you have these happy memories so much, is because you guys realize this. You realize that, like, you know, it takes work to be happy. It takes, like, and the happy moments are, like, sometimes for you guys are far and few between. So that's why you deeply treasure them. Let's pull some more cards. I'm going to get some more playing cards to see more about you guys. This card wants to come out. We have 4 spades here for where the 4 of clubs is. 4 of wands is. Let's see what else comes out. Oh, 10 of hearts for the page of pentacles. Let's see what else. And that flipped up when I was talking about the 4 of wands. So I kind of want to, like, talk about that too. Let's see. We have the ace of spades, and we also have the jack of clubs. Okay. Sorry, there's like a siren chasing a car outside. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear that through the camera, but I don't know why. It reminds me, like, with this pile specifically, of like a how do I put it? Like a road chase, like between a cop and a, like, criminal or something like that. The sub-dom theme is coming through so strongly here with this particular pile. And I am seeing this kind of, like, you guys could get into relationships, and I just got head tingles, where you're, like, chasing someone, right? Or someone's chasing you, or, like, someone could be, like, chasing you, and then all of a sudden you start chasing them, and then they put up walls. There's a very much like a hot and cold back and forth, like almost like game playing, except that it's not game playing because you guys enjoy it. It's like it's an enjoyed, like, factor to this kind of connection to your relationships in general. Let's see what we have here. So let's start with the 4 of spades and the memories. Let's go back to this memory thing, because I think it's, like, interesting that you guys have such an austere personality and kind of, like, efficient, to the point. And even though you mediate logical disputes, I see that your feeling and your emotion lies in your memories. The part of you that's like the golden nugget of you is like that people, when they really see and they really treasure, is like lies in that, like, soft, gooey center of your mind, basically. But with 4 of spades here, we see that these memories are actually, your ability to remember is fueled by your work, or your ability to have consistent work. It's kind of interesting that it paired up right next to the 8 of Pentacles here. It's like people appreciate this about you, and people who are hard workers value these memories that you have. So you guys might be with someone who's a very hard worker, someone who is not afraid of getting their hands dirty or getting into they might have a lot of willpower. You guys might be attracted to people with a lot of willpower. The people that are attracted to your memories have a lot of willpower. So I feel like you guys could be safe sharing your positive memories with people who are hard workers, or who are very diligent, or who very much like almost like workaholic types, basically, could be beneficial for you, as far as like people that you could have a really good time with. It's kind of contradictory, right? Because you wouldn't think like someone who's all about work could appreciate positive memories, but something about your memories really lights up those types of souls. With the Pluto card and the 8 of Pentacles, right, with the Ace of Spades, I am seeing that, like, there is this sense of transformation when you guys get involved in your careers, right? And you attract psychic people when you're like this. You'll attract people in your life that are psychic or spiritual or very, very highly intuitive. that are going to be people that are appreciative of what you're doing, basically. And with the Pluto transforming, they'll see you transforming and they're going to help guide you along your path. Let's see what else. Also, this is something to be careful of, because I see that this is a lot of people like this are attracted to you, what I'm going to cover right now, but they're only attracted to one side of you, right? So remember I said how you guys have that ability to be a student and a teacher. You can be the dominant one and the submissive one. You have two types of personalities that are attracted to you that are only attracted to one side of you. So for example, when you're being submissive, you attract a lot of like fun-loving, like goofy, group-focused people who are very much a part about being a collective or a community and want to include you into those groups. However, when you go into the dominant side of your personality, right, and you're kind of like acting in a sense of authority, these people either ignore you or they kind of try to push you out of the group, basically, because you're not being that submissive person that they kind of wanted in the first place. And vice versa, you have very trickster-esque type of people who are very intelligent, crafty-minded people who probably deal with some kind of like in the realm of logic or something like that, like very intelligent, and they like to kind of, because they're a very youthful energy, they like to be in your presence when you're very dominating. They find it very soothing and comforting, right? And they like the fact that you're constantly feeding them logic and answers and experiential answers, because it's a pentacle card, experiential answers that they can use and twist to their own advantage, basically, if that makes sense. So not necessarily, they're not like the most malicious, they're just youthful, creative and playful, basically, like a Jack would be. So they like to, it's like you're a fountain. When you're the dominant version of yourself, you're this fountain that's kind of emitting all this wisdom and knowledge, and they can like gain it and use it. And that's stuff that's like food for them, basically, because they're kind of like creatively exploring and digesting that kind of information. So these are the types of people that when you're very like dominant, they'll like be attracted to you. So it's funny because it's like either you're this follower that goes into these very lighthearted, fun, happy groups where there's a lot of like humor, positivity, and where the group's kind of famous. And then on the other hand, you go into these kind of like esoteric components of your life where you're like the dominant one. And then you have all these like crafty, playful people who are kind of trying to see what you're all about and the logic that you have and kind of the information that you possess. And they kind of want to use it to their own ends to get ahead in life and stuff like that. So just be wary. I mean, wary is the wrong word. You don't have to be wary of these people. These are just situations you'll find yourself in. But your true person is going to be a combination of both of these, right? They might be a little crafty, but they also might be more emotional instead of intelligent or something like that. So keep that in mind. Your person is going to be a little bit of both of these. And that's going beyond this reading. I'm just trying to tell you what types of people are attracted to you. So yeah, and what makes you attractive. So 10 of Hearts and Jack of Clubs, those types of people are attracted to you. I think I'm going to end the reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. This pile was so interesting. Such a cool pile. And you guys have to... I mean, I don't YouTube probably censors comments too, but like, tell me like if you guys relate to the Dom sub community or anything like that, because I don't know much about it. But yeah, it's very interesting that you guys are watching my channel. This is a very unique person. I feel like you guys are very unique and, multifaceted is the key word that keeps coming to my mind, is multifaceted. And remember, with this miracles and blessings, everything has its gift. And with nothing is wasted too here, one last thing I want to say is that you guys know that everyone has a purpose. You know, it's funny. It's funny that I mentioned or picked up that you guys might doubt your purpose in the grand scheme of things, because you so clearly see everyone else's purpose. So why wouldn't you also have a purpose? You know, why wouldn't you also be important? Why wouldn't your mechanisms and how you work be perfectly orchestrated for this world, just like you know everyone else is? So that's something to think about at the end of this reading. So with that said, I'm going to end the reading there. If you liked or appreciated this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading and you resonated with my energy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to the last group, the Black Tourmaline, Group 6. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hey, Group 6, this is if you picked the Black Tourmaline. So let's do a big 360 rotation for this baby. A little delirious because it's the last group. Yeah, don't worry guys, I am taking care of myself. I know you guys like want me to take care of myself. So I've been drinking water while I do these readings, and I'm making sure I'm like not overheating too much. Okay, let's see. We have a card coming up for you guys already. Ace of Swords. Okay, so I'm going to draw some tarot cards, and Ace of Swords want to jump out right away. So this is pretty important. So we'll get to that when the reading happens. Your oracle cards are Teacher, Badger Spirit, and Netza, Right Leg Endurance. So let's get into it. What makes you guys attractive? See, this card wants to come out. We have Justice, more of that sword energy. Let's see what other card wants to come out. These two want to come out. Pull them on opposite sides. We have the Knight of Cups and the Devil. We have two more oracle card decks to pull from, and then we have the Astro dice, and then we'll get into the reading. So we have this card that wants to come out. We have Listen with your heart. You are listening, but need to hear with a loving heart. Let's see what else wants to come out for the Love Story Oracle. This card. We have Communication. And we have one more needs to come out. This one wants to come out. We have Guarded. Wow. And let's roll the Astro dice, and then we'll get right into your reading. We have Leo, First House, and Neptune. Okay, I'm just going to get right into this reading because I'm seeing some things, but my mind is getting kind of confused looking at this. So I think it'll all make sense as I keep reading, but let's get into it, and I will do my best because I feel like this message does need to come across. So let's see. First, I am looking at the first house and Leo here. And so I do think there is something striking about your appearance that people are attracted to, something that people really are drawn to. There's something very unique and striking and individual about your appearance that is something not a lot of people have. And people are really drawn to you because of it. That's kind of something that I'm picking up. It's something that makes people feel like they're caught in a dream. So this could be something like you have really dreamy eyes, or like your hair is a certain texture or a certain way or certain color or something like that. Or there's certain like freckles or something on your skin that makes your skin look a certain way where people are like dreamily attracted to it, you know? Those are some things that like right off the bat physically that kind of make you attractive. Also, one other thing that makes you attractive with the teacher card is you guys do have the ability to teach others. And so when you guys are sharing your knowledge, that is something that makes you very attractive. Also, there's a whole big metaphor that I'm so trying to grasp my head around. I'm trying to grasp this metaphor that's like about you guys, and it's almost like the way it's coming through too is because I can't grasp what I'm trying to say. It almost feels like you guys have this kind of mystery, like people can't really grasp at your personality. Same with you probably watching this, you guys probably have a personality that's very hard for you guys to actually dissect. It's like when you look at yourself, you're like, who am I and what am I doing here? You know, like I feel like there's this whole vibe of like not being able to fully understand yourself or something like that. And it's coming through to me as like not being able. And I think that's one of the things that I'm seeing is there's certain things that are coming through that you possess, but at the same time, it's hard to find the cohesive message. It's like hard to find like what your identity is, if that makes sense. Where all the other groups have like their own specific identity, it's very difficult to figure out what your guys' actual identity or what you are about. But I'm kind of seeing little hints. It's like coming through, but it's like coming through a fog. I guess that's the best way to put it. So you guys have a mysteriousness about you. That's also with the Neptune here. I feel like people also with the Neptune here want to merge with you, like pretty deeply. They really want to merge with you. And with Justice here, they feel like you're their other half. It's like you have such an elusive, mysterious nature to you that when people are drawn to you, they think you are the one because you're like, it's like they're caught up in a dream, or they can't see clearly, or something like that, or your beauty like perplexes them, so they think you're the one. So that's something that makes you attractive. But it might not be the type of attractiveness you guys specifically are looking for. Yeah, because we have the Knight of Cups here. They see you as someone who's like a knight in shining armor kind of type. They see you as someone who's going to like either save the day or represent that perfect, ultimate romantic partner for them. And with the guarded card, yeah, it's coming through. It's just, there's like a cloud with your reading, guys. I'm sorry. With the guarded card here, it's like, people are, they see you as someone who's very guarded and who doesn't want to open up, and they assume that because you're not attracted to them, that there's something wrong with you. Like there's something wrong with you, and they think that you're guarded because you have like you've been hurt before or whatever. Fill in the blank with the reason, right? They assume that you're guarded because of that, but really it's like you're looking for something more realistic and not illusory, if that makes sense. Because I feel like these people that are drawn to you, they don't see you clearly. They're like really attracted to you because of your beauty. I think it's your beauty that they're really attracted to, or whatever beautiful feature you have, and they think you're the one, and then because you don't reciprocate, they're like, oh, it's, they're guarded, or they're too they have walls up, so they don't want a relationship, so they kind of blame it on that instead of like the fact that they're not really seeing you clearly. And it's one of those things where it's not really their fault either, because the way this mystique around you is, it's like it seems as if you're presenting like a real presence to these people, and they're picking up on a real presence, but it is this kind of energy, right? This kind of like mysterious, kind of enigmatic Neptunian energy that I'm kind of vibing here too with. There's a lot of illusionary, like, am I saying that word correctly? Illusionary, right? Illusions, aspects to this kind of connection. I do see with this woman, and she's like has this world, and she's cracking open this world, and all these little worlds are coming out and they're floating up around her. It's like you have this ability to take you have this ability to make little parts of the world feel like the whole world, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you can make people feel like their small town that they live in is like a bigger world than they could expect, right? You kind of make people think that like, oh yeah, this is the world and this is the only world there is. And you make people feel like wherever they're at is like the biggest, coolest place to be at on the planet, or is its own separate world. In a way, you have a way of making people feel separate from each other, if that makes sense. So that's something that does make you attractive as well. It's like people realize that like, oh yeah, like I'm this piece of this small world, but guess what? That's my whole world, right? People who, and this can be a good thing, right? Because this narrows down people's focus. I'm going to be honest, people who would not like this aspect about you are people who, want to explore all the time. They can't really set down roots anywhere. They don't feel like setting down any roots. They don't want to really live in one place for too long. But the people who really appreciate this need that kind of settling down. It's like they're too sporadic, and they're kind of like, I want to find my home. I want to find where I belong. So I feel like that's another part of the reason why people are really drawn to you, is you make them feel like home, or like they belong somewhere. You make them feel like the little world that you're creating with them, or that they live in, is like their perfect world. So I do see that people feel very content around you. And that's something that also is something that makes them really attracted to you, is they're like, man, I feel so content, I feel so at peace. So they think you're the one, right? With the Knight of Cups and the Justice cards, like they see that partnership, they see you, they think you're the one. But really it's like you're making them feel like they're in their perfect world. And so what I'm seeing is it makes you guarded, because it's like, and I don't even know if you guys are aware you're doing this, but like you make them feel so special in that way, and that makes them feel like that you are their perfect partner, but then you're still guarded, and you're like, no, I don't want to be with you, or no, it's okay, like you're not what I'm looking for, something like that. And you just come off as like guarded, basically. That's kind of how the reading's being presented here. Another thing that I'm seeing with Badger Spirit, Be Fearless and Bold and Endurance, one thing people appreciate about you is your fearlessness and your bold nature. I feel like you guys are not afraid to stand up for what you believe in. And I think that's really important here. And I definitely see with the Endurance card here, you will hold out at all costs until your like enemy is worn down or the thing that you're approaching is worn down. For example, if you guys are approaching like a job or you're trying to get a job or something like that, you guys will hang in there till the last minute until you know you definitely won't get that job, and then you bail out. It's like no matter what, you hold on to that position. So be fearless and bold is also one way of you guys like taking what you need from life and kind of taking the bull by the horns. And then at the same time with the endurance card, you're able to hold on there for quite a while. And that's, people really respect that about you. They see it as almost like superhuman how you can do this. But yeah, with Ace of Swords here, the Devil in communication, I am seeing a few different things. So out of the things that kind of get clouded by Neptune, just because Neptune's over here, and that the things that people are attracted to you by, but are like kind of illusionary in a weird way. It's like with the Ace of Swords and Neptune, it's like people think they are really aware and they're clear-headed when they're around you, or they really have like the best knowledge of like, you make them feel like their thoughts are it. Like you make like it, like, how do I explain this? Like it's almost like you make them feel like what they're thinking is so important that it's the truth, if that makes sense. It kind of goes along with that world card, right? It's like you're showing them this world that's their world, and their world's the only world, and it feels like home. And you can have this way of making, you guys also have this way of making an environment feel very home-like, if that's kind of another vibe that I'm getting here. But you make them feel like their thoughts are their own home too. So you feel like people get really enamored with their own thinking when they're around you. It's because you make people feel comfortable about the way they think. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But the thing is, that could be dangerous for them too, because they might realize when you're gone that their thoughts are a little more chaotic than they thought they were, or they feel the pressure of how chaotic their thoughts are, or something like that. So that's why this Neptune card is interesting with all these kind of things. Also with Ace of Swords, there could be elements of, in your connections, psychic communication, where you guys are actually psychically in tune with the people around you, as far as like a telepathic link even. You might know what your partner's thinking or something like that, or what the people who are attracted to you are thinking. And that might be another reason why you don't, like, you have that guard up, right? It's almost like the vibe that I'm getting is like, I'm getting a metaphor about like flies and honey, and then like you guys wanting the right bee to come near you, but you just keep attracting flies, but you know the flies aren't bad, but you give them a little bit of honey, they fly away. The kind of vibe that I'm getting is like you're like the precious gem or something like that, there needs to be a metaphor for this, and I'm surprised I can't think of one. But basically what I'm seeing is like you're some kind of object, right? And people think, okay, like say you're a box, you're like a jewel encrusted box, right? But really, people see the opening in the box and they think you're a cup. So they keep drinking out of a box, right? They keep coming over to you and drinking a little bit out of the box, but really you're not a cup, you're a box. You're meant to put stuff in or something like that, right? And so what I'm seeing is that like people don't realize you're not who they think you are. They keep using you for some purpose or some reason, but you're really not that way. You need to be used for a different reason. You need to be used for a reason that's more suited to you. It's just that I feel like it's interesting you came to this reading. It's not meant to be like a person. I mean, it kind of is a personality analysis, but I'm seeing that like on one hand, you guys in a way don't know who you are in order to make that correct move towards someone else. It's like you do kind of rely on other people to kind of figure out how you are, if that makes sense. So there's just something very illusory, like with that Neptune. I mean, I'm telling you, this reading is the most difficult of all six. And that's just because there's a lot of illusion going on here. There's a lot of like cloudedness. I feel like what makes you attractive is a tricky question for you guys, because I feel like it's different depending on who's attracted to you. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. But yeah, so with the Ace of Swords, I feel like you can kind of cloud people's thoughts. You know, Ace of Swords does represent clarity, but because it's next to this Neptune vibe, I definitely see that it's one of those things where it's like they think their thoughts are clear when they're around you, but when they leave you or they're alone or they're on their own or something, or they haven't talked to you in a while, these people that are attracted to you, they realize, oh man, my thoughts aren't that clear. I don't know what I'm talking about. And they fall into a pattern of like doubt again, if that makes sense. With the Devil card here and the Neptune and next to communication, I was seeing these two initially as a message together, but I am now seeing a different message. With the Devil and Neptune here, I am seeing that like people like sexually or physically, they feel like you're their type, and it's because they kind of look at the parts of you that they admire. And it's kind of how it is that illusion is operating, right? The best thing I can say that what makes you attractive is like you have an illusory nature, and that kind of makes different people attracted to you for different reasons. But you have this kind of, with the Leo in the first house, you have this way of shining like a Leo in your own appearance that really attracts people. Also with Neptune here in the first house, I am seeing that kind of illusory kind of like component in your actual appearance, you know, where you kind of have like a hypnotic effect over others. So with the Devil here, I'm also saying that your sex appeal is very hypnotic and illusory, right? People might find that they want to do certain things with you sexually that you would not necessarily be into. And when they talk to you about it, they assume you're a certain way, but you're not. You kind of like have your own preferences and tastes, but they assume you have different preferences and tastes, right? The Devil also can indicate like materialism and addiction and like attachment. So I feel like you guys might have some people who get really attached to you. And they need to learn how to break away. It's like a life lesson that a lot of people come to you because they need to learn how to break their own attachments and to break away. And I do see that you being guarded with them is something that's very beneficial to help them break away and them to find their true partner, if that makes sense. With communication here, with this love letter, I am saying that like, you guys have a way of communicating with others that is also illusionary. And because like with the Devil here, I am seeing this whole concept of like people need to break away from their communication with you because it can be a little confusing for them, people that are attracted to you. One thing that can help with this, because I am seeing this come through as something that's alluring to people at first, but over time people get frustrated with because they just want straight answers, right? They just want a straight answer, you know? They don't want like hidden agendas or illusions. Basically, people come to you and they kind of have this shattering of like, with the Devil representing Capricorn, you know, and representing like Saturn and the reality of the situation, you know, with the communication here, it's like they really want to like get real with you at some point with the communication. Like, just tell me how you truly feel. And I feel like you guys can't do that. I don't know if it's because you're too nice. I don't know if it's because you know on one hand that that's going to like not help their growth in the long run. But one thing that I'm seeing that's your key to like dealing with this, with listen with your heart, says you are listening but need to hear with a loving heart. I feel like if you speak from the place of love with anyone you're dealing with, and that's a lot to ask. We're not always going to love everyone around us. You know, sometimes people are infuriate us, or especially with these people who are attached to you or have an unhealthy obsession. It might be annoying to have so many flies attracted to your beautiful honey, you know? So it might be like difficult at times. If you listen and speak with a loving heart, I feel like that's really going to make the difference in your connections. And it's really going to make the difference in the people in your life. So it's almost like listening and communicating, and kind of, in a way, loving doesn't necessarily mean illusory, right? You can be realistic and loving at the same time. And almost I'm seeing when people expect this realistic communication, it's like it's important to give it to them, to give them that realism in the communication, but speaking it with loving words and listening to them in a loving way, hearing what do they truly need, what do they want from you, what do they truly need, and then letting them know that you're not that, but they can find that in this lifetime. You know, that's kind of the main message that I'm seeing has to happen with you and some people that are attracted to you. It's interesting because that's kind of like, I feel like it's interesting because like these two cards are coming out as more of your realistic cards, basically, or your cards that are representative of your future partner. I am seeing here with the Justice card, you do have kind of like a divine counterpart that's going to balance you out and is going to be someone that's going to be good for you in the long run. You do have that person coming for you. But with Badger Spirit, Befold, and Beerless and the Endurance card, these are the traits that like if people are admiring these traits in you, I feel like they're really seeing the true you underneath it all, if that makes sense. If they're really seeing you as being like, wow, I love how you stood up to that person, or I love how you were fearless and bold. I feel like those are the traits that people really appreciate in you, and those are the traits that are kind of more closer to the answer of who you truly are, if that makes sense. With Endurance too, your ability to hang in there no matter what. If people appreciate this about you, you're on the right path with finding the right people for you. So people who are attracted to you, they're going to be some people, or what makes you attractive is that illusionary component, but also these these qualities. It's just the people that are attracted to you, that are attracted to these qualities, most likely going to be people that you're going to want to spend more time with. Okay, so let's get some playing cards out here. This will be the last thing in the reading, and then it's going to get wrapped up. So I'm going to draw some playing cards for each of the tarot cards. We have Queen of Diamonds for Ace of Swords. And we have, I just saw 2 more queens. So feminine energy is important here. People who have more of a feminine component to their nature. Let's draw the rest. So the Devil, we have the 7 of Hearts. That card's been coming out a lot. The Queen of Spades for Justice, and the Queen of, yeah, okay, the queens, the same queens I saw, just I was able to draw them apparently. Okay, so I'm trying, there's something that like, I read somewhere in a esoteric thing that the queen that's not drawn is the one. And that's the thing, because this reading's so illusory, I feel like feminine energies who are really intelligent or smart or study a lot are the types that are going to be right for you. Because we have hearts, which is like emotions. We have spades, which is like spirituality and working and stuff like that. We have diamonds, which is like values and money. I definitely see that these are the types of people that are attracted to you, that are kind of close to what you want. I definitely see that you guys like that kind of feminine, more nurturing energy in others. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Doesn't matter if you're a male or female. I'm seeing that you like this kind of like more feminine attitude in others, because we do have 3 queens here. Now I'm seeing the only queen that's missing is the Queen of Clubs, right? So that's something to keep in mind here, that even though you're attracting all these different people and these people are attracted to you, the Queen of Clubs is the queen that is kind of the hidden prize at the end of the map, right? And it's interesting because the Queen of Spades is the other Queen of Night, right? The red cards are day cards and the black cards are night cards. The Queen of Spades is the other Queen of Night. So you guys actually might find that divine feminine types who are attracted to you that are more spiritual in their nature, or who are more either hard workers or spiritual in their nature, those are the types that are going to lead you to your person, who is actually a queen that is intelligent, well-educated, and also very intuitive. So also spiritual, but more on the intellectual side of spirituality, basically. Also with the 7 of Hearts here, this is basically just saying that it's important to kind of let people go their own way when they get obsessive, right? Like, I know you guys are going to attract a lot of people who are obsessed with you. I'm going to say that right now. It's important to kind of like be kind to them, let them go their own way, let them be themselves. You know, this guarded energy will protect you from anyone that's not right for you, right? And the thing is, your angel here is the right leg endurance, Netza, and this is really coming through as like your ability to endure through a lot of different relationships until you find the right person. And the right person is coming. It's just funny because it's like all 3 queens came out that are attracted to you. It's like you've explored all types of, it's almost like you guys feel like you've explored all types of people by now. It's like I've already seen all the types of people that I could be. There's like only one left that could be for me. And so it's almost like in a way you guys know who's going to, like on a subconscious level, you know who your future partner is going to be. But it's interesting. It's just like these people this is what's attracted to you right now. You get like divine feminines that are very emotional, divine feminines that are very focused on money and practicalities, and divine feminines that are spiritual, but also workaholics. I feel like you guys are going to be with someone who's not necessarily a workaholic. They're also spiritual. They're a Queen of Night, but they're also intelligent. You know, they're smart. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. All right, that is what makes you attractive and who is attracted to you. I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. It was such a pleasure. You guys are very interesting people. It's a pleasure to read for you. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoy this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I post pick cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to the end of the reading. There's no more groups. So I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Goodbye and have a good one.